I know it's hard to do. But home. Yeah, the camera is. It's a Canon.
We're live. We got it. We just need to know those things off.
Let me try something. I'm using the option to set it to shut it off, but it's not shutting off.
We're just gonna have to.
What model is this? What model is this Canon?
Canon XA10.
XA10?
Yeah.
Canon XA10. How do you turn on?
It's got it.
You did. Yeah.
Right here. Skylar. Up there.
One, two, three. Check 1, 2, 3.
He really is.
Mic check, testing 1, 2. Mic check, testing 1, 2.
We got audio.
Oh, I hear it, boys. I know.
Trying to keep up with this guy. Hey, Coach T. I was watching the old. Yeah. Back in 2016.
Yeah.
You're still. No. I'm not sure if we're getting Good luck up there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Not on the stage. Thank you.
You have to find time to ask her.
It happens.
Good afternoon. Hello. Before we get started, we'd like to invite Jane Cunningham to give us a blessing.
Good afternoon. My name's Eugene Cunningham from Pawhuska District here with the Ponca Clan. Glad to see everybody here for good support for the ladies and gentlemen that are running. I was asked to pray, so I'm going to get right into a prayer. Dear Father, at this time I ask that you be here amongst us, amongst the ladies and gentlemen here that's running for office, dear Father. Thank you for this day, dear Father. I ask that you look and guide these Congress people that are looking to seek these seats like that, dear Father. I ask that you bless them and guide them in all their wisdom that they was educated with, dear Father, and that they look over the tribe and all these departments are going to run like that, dear Father. I ask that you bless them in a cordial way that they can conduct themselves as they're supposed to like that, dear Father. Get along with one another, take care of their tribe like that, dear Father. These things I ask in your Son, Jesus, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, friends and relatives and intrepid candidates of the Osage Nation Congress. I'm Tara McLean-Manthe, and on behalf of the Osage News Editorial Board, and it's my honor to welcome you to the 2024 congressional debate held by the Osage News Editorial Board. Board members Jerry Jean Brandstetter, Teresa Lansom, Teresa Tremblay Lansom, and I are grateful for you all for taking the time to join us on this incredibly beautiful spring day. So I know many of you would rather be outside, but I'm so grateful for you to come and see us today. Before we get started, I want to thank our Osage Casinos Pawhuska and Osage Nation Travel Works for preparing this very stately setting. The Osage Nation Communications Department for broadcasting us to Osages throughout the world. And as always, the board extends our deepest gratitude to the hardworking staff of the Osage News, who just yesterday put the monthly paper to bed and are back here bright-eyed and ready to dive into the next news cycle. Thank you. And also welcome and thank you to our moderators, Allison Herrera, Senior Reporter for American Public Media, and Brittany Harlow, BNN Director and Lead Journalist with BNN Oklahoma. BNN has as a partner of ours, and they're doing a listening survey. So listening survey to better inform election coverage. The booth is just outside this room, and make sure you take the survey. And they would love to have your voices included. And last, logistics, please silence your phones. There's water and tea and coffee over here. And before we get started, I just want to, before we gather and witness and engage this exchange of ideas, we reaffirm our commitment to the principles of democracy that have guided our nation through trials and tribulations alike. The significance of every election, particularly in a tribal community, cannot be overstated. Every vote cast shapes the trajectory of our collective future and safeguards the essence of our tribal sovereignty. The Osage Nation Congress is vital in advancing the interests of our community and the continuation of Osage ways. As candidates vie for the opportunity to serve, they do so with an understanding of the weight of their responsibilities and the impact of their decisions on the lives of all citizens. They also do so with the understanding that their deeds, lives, and online actions and in-person actions will be in the spotlight as citizens everywhere evaluate them to be their representatives. It's not for the faint of heart, and we are grateful to you all for the time and treasure you're investing in your candidacy and for being here today. So as we embark on the debate, let us do so with civility and respect and a shared commitment to the betterment of the Osage Nation. May the discourse be enlightening and the ideas inspiring and the spirit of democracy prevail. Thank you. I'm going to hand it over to Allison to give us our rules and get started. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So I'm here to read the rules for today's debate. So each candidate will have 2 minutes each for an opening statement and 1 minute for a closing statement. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question and 1 minute for rebuttal. Candidates will answer in the order called. The timer will warn candidates when they have 30 seconds left, and we'll be holding up this yellow card to let you know that you will have 30 seconds left to finish your answer. And then, and we'll stop a candidate when the time is up, and we'll be holding up this red card to do that. The moderator, that's me, I will make sure that each candidate takes their turn in answering the question, and we'll also make sure all candidates have a chance for their 1 minute rebuttal. The moderator also reserves the right to shorten answer periods for the sake of time. Candidates may choose to pass on their 1 minute rebuttal. Candidates will be offered time for rebuttals in the same order in which they responded to the question. And I just want to remind everybody to please keep your rebuttals germane to the question that you were asked. And if you don't feel like you have a rebuttal, feel free to pass. All answers will remain civil, and each candidate will refrain from personal attacks on other candidates. The moderator will reserve the right to disqualify any candidate who cannot adhere to this rule from further debate. All questions for the candidates were submitted from Osage tribal citizens and were selected by the Osage News editorial board. The editorial board also supplemented questions for this debate. So at this time, I think we'd like to call the candidates up to the podium. Our first group, that would be Jackie Jones, Jody Rivard, Brooklyn Sweezy, Joe Tillman, and Maria Whitehorn. Candidates, in order to answer when you want to use the microphone, please use this button in the middle of the microphone stand when you want to talk. And then when it's lit up, that'll tell you that the mic is hot. And then when you don't want to talk, turn it off like that. Great. Okay, so our first question, I'm I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Let's getting ahead of myself here. So let's give each candidate a turn for their opening statement, and I'll start with you, Ms. Jones.
Well, first of all, good afternoon, and thank everybody for coming out to listen to each candidate's important message and what they're dedicating their lives to for the next 4 years. I'm excited to be standing with a diverse group of individuals with a wealth of experience and knowledge about our Congress and how our Osage Nation runs. The reason why I'm here is because I'm asking you to vote for a unique perspective. I'm a business owner, I'm a mother, I'm part of the Zonzoli committee as a lady singer. I've been dedicated to our Osage culture, our Osage ways, since I can remember. What I bring is decades of tribal government experience, effective leadership, and business experience. I continue to dedicate my career to the Native American communities in creating sustainable resources that improve the livelihoods of all Native Americans, specifically in the business development. My perspective comes from 15 years of working for the Osage Nation. For the new tribal development, I was the director for the services that grant offered. One of those things is the burial assistance. I was part of starting the first constituent services office, and I'm excited to talk about important issues to the people. My main focus, if elected, is to preserve health, services, benefits, education, protection of land and infrastructure, and I believe all of that costs. So again, thank you for everybody involved in putting this event on. I really appreciate your time and looking forward to this debate.
Thank you. Mr. Tillman, you'll have 2 minutes.
Out of all due respect, I'm surrounded by girls up here. Let's go ladies first, if that's okay.
You want to move on to the next candidate?
Well, I want to go, but I'm going to let the girls go first.
Okay.
I'm a gentleman.
Ms. Sweezy.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman. Away. Hello, everyone. I appreciate seeing you all. Thank you all for coming out and supporting all the candidates. My name is Brooklyn Sweezy. I am a newcomer. I'm new to the Osage Nation Congress, and I am amplifying my expertise in my higher education. I've received all my education through the support of the Osage Nation. They have funded all the scholarships for me. I received my associate's and bachelor's in American Indian Studies, and I just finished my master's at OU with my emphasis, the major was Indian law. One thing that I would like to promote for our tribe is kind of move past the economic development and focus more on what we have and improving on what we have. I have a lot of experience in legal writing and legal research. I value that. And I strongly believe that our education is important to educate all our Osage students that are promoting and wanting to pursue their higher education. My maiden name is Daly. I'm from the Osage, Logan, and Daly families of the Gray Horse District. My great-grandparents were Joe Osage and Effie Logan. My main focus, besides focusing on tribal sovereignty, which is very important, is being a voice for all Osages. I'd like to promote inclusion and include everyone on and off the reservation. I think that's real important. And I would also like to promote more unity and harmony within our tribe and work together. I am younger, so I am promoting the younger generations that my teacher has taught. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. White.
Good afternoon. I'm so happy when Osages gather. It just makes my heart feel good. And especially when you're interested in what your government does for you, because, well, let me tell you who I am. I'm Maria Whitehorn. I've served on Osage Nation Congress, but I get excited about our government because I have the strong belief that we have this Osage government to serve you, the people. And the people that you elect to sit in these seats, I think they all do, but they all need to have in mind that ultimately the decisions we make are in service to you. So I have served as a Congress member before, from 2012 to 2018. And in that 8 years of service, I was Speaker of Congress for 2 years. I was an appropriation chair for 3 years, and I served on various other committees. I was the chair of the Water Rights Task Force. So I guess by telling you all that, I'm letting you know there's no learning curve for me to catch up, to serve you again in this capacity as a congressperson. And during my 4-year break that I had away from the nation, you know, I believe in my heart that that time away was really a needed time for me. I had the opportunity to serve in the capacity of a caregiver for my father, which I wouldn't have traded that for the world. I also had the opportunity to take a year or so off to mourn, and that's part of our Osage way that we do. Golly, that went by fast. So all I'm saying is right now I'm back running for Congress because in that step away from the Congress, I see that we have missing legislation that's going to serve you, the people, in a better way. And it's all about our land. When we started treating land up in Missouri back in 1808 to this movie that came out, everything has always been about our lands. Our lands held in community and our individual lands. Thank you for your time, and I'm excited to debate. Thank you. Ms. Rebar.
Okay, thank you, and welcome to everybody that came in person today. And I'm a little bit nervous, and I was thinking about that this morning. I'm Jody Revard, and I'm seeking to be reelected to serve another term. And I was telling Guy Ray this morning, I'm so nervous. And it's a little bit scary, but I know why. It's because I care. And I'm afraid I'm gonna say something that isn't maybe correct or something you don't wanna hear. Because if I could just please everybody, I would, but I can't, and I'm one person. But in that, I wanna talk about in 2020, when I was first elected, we didn't get this opportunity. Myself, Congresswoman, or Second Speaker Shaw, and Congressman Keene, we filed and then COVID hit. And you talk about being flexible and adjusting your schedules, your life, your everything at that time. And then was blessed to be elected. And then it was go straight into work. And at that time, I had Congresswoman Pratt, Speaker Pratt, who walked alongside me as second speaker to help me because I didn't know what I was doing. It was brand new. And if it weren't for the collaboration and working together with the people on Congress, we wouldn't have got through that first session or appropriating the COVID and ARPA dollars that went to serve our people. And that happened because we worked with the executive branch. We worked on a Saturday, both branches, to try to prioritize and figure out what the needs were of our people. So I'm asking for your vote today and excited for the questions a little bit.
Thank you. Mr. Tillman.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. And first of all, I'd like to thank Almighty God, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for giving me this opportunity to be in front of you once again. I'd like to thank the editorial board, the Osage News, and the Osage Casino for hosting this event. I'd like to recognize the elders that are here today in the room. God bless you. And we just, we're very, very pleased every day that we get to be with you. And we are pleased. And my name is Joe Tillman. I'm from Fairfax, Oklahoma, and graduated from Oklahoma State University with a bachelor's and a master's degree in communications, and I'm seeking a third term. And I go back, I was listening to Congresswoman Revard talk about her first days on the job, and when I first got elected, they threw me, I was the only new Congress member elected, and they gave me a couple of books, a code book, and said, there it is, figure it out. And Huggy Supernall looked at me and said, don't trust anybody. I said, okay. So, but the issues are many. This is a very important, vital election. And I ask you please to vet your candidates and give them their day to be able to speak and talk about, the qualities and what they bring to the table to help us along. Many, many issues that are outstanding today in the Osage Nation, but in my first and foremost is because our main engine of revenue, which is the casino. It only does so much. And we have sustainability issues in front of us. new buildings, utilities, salaries, upkeep, maintenance, all of the above. So we really have to be careful going forward, but I thank you for your time. Look forward to the questions, and I'm ready to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're gonna begin with our first question here. Okay, I'm gonna start with Ms. Jones. So here we go. What's your position on the Minerals Council's draft legislation to return head rights? Do you feel they should be returned to the nation or to the original family? You have 2 minutes.
It's a touchy subject. So many of you recently know that I lost my brother who was a head right holder. My mother left him her whole head right. My daughter is now a new head right owner. So the minerals estate is very important to me. My opinion on whether they are doing the right or wrong thing, I believe that's in the beholders of the shareholders. While it is important, I would say that let's do what's best for the majority of the shareholders and where they believe that money should go. I don't believe I should dictate that myself, being a non-shareholder. That's my stance. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Tillman, would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure.
Okay. What's your position on the Minerals Council's draft legislation to return head rights? Do you feel they should be returned to the nation or to the original family?
Thank you. Great question. I was contacted about 2 years ago from an attorney in Tulsa who called me and said, Congressman, I've got 2 entities down here that want to return their head rights back to the nation. How do we do that? We don't have a vehicle that does that or allows that at this time. There's got to be legislation that's drafted and created to be able to let that happen. It could be a process where you look at the families first. And if you can't recognize the families, if it's so fractionated, but give the families a chance to reclaim those head rights. If not, then the nation for sure. But that is definitely an issue for the shareholders. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sweezy, can I ask you also here, I'm gonna do one thing. Can you lift it up? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Just want to be able to hear you. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
I believe that I'm not a head right holder, but I would indefinitely say that there should be a plan of action that should be arranged, and a decision should be made whether the family wants the money. The family should have the first option. I think it should go to them first. And then if not, if there's no way, then give it back to the tribe. But I would definitely say a plan of action would need to happen. Protocol needs to happen. That would be my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Whitehorn, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. No, thank you. I got it. Well, I like this question because I think that it is one of the pertinent issues that's happening with our tribe and with our minerals estate, which is a huge asset. And personally, I believe that right now, the legislation, draft legislation that's out there, I'm not clear on the final copy of it. So that's number one. We need to we need to be open with each other and have a clear final copy on what that legislation is. It's up in Washington, D.C. I think it's important for all shareholders to know that. And then number two, I firmly believe that it goes to the families that have, that head right has been dislodged from. And I've heard different arguments about that it would be messy, it'd be hard, but you have to prove lineal descent to be a member of the Osage tribe. To me, that's not hard. The fractionation of the head right is hard, but I think that that's where the nation comes in with writing good law. That's what your legislative branch should do. In Article 15, we have general authority over all natural resources in the nation. We have general authority. Our Minerals Council has specific authority down within the body of that article. So I believe that we should write good law as a legislative branch to help dictate what the federal law says, how we're going to bring that into fruition here at the nation. And then I think a part of that legislation that was out in the article that was published in the Osage News is that it would go to the nation or the Minerals Council. Well, the Minerals Council constitutionally is part of the nation, but I believe we also need to write good draft legislation to state that those shares coming back, if they come back to the nation, they go to the Minerals Council to be added into their budget to help them improve the asset of the minerals estate.
Thank you, Ms. Rayford. Ms. Reed, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. So I would like to, I'm glad that this question was brought up. It's a good question. This most certainly falls under the authority of our Minerals Council, but where Congress would come into play, to me, is either through a resolution to support their efforts, or as Maria mentioned, if there's legislation that needs to be written with regards to the procedure. But also, you know, this issue came back when I served on the 31st Tribal Council. We had an entity that reached out to us wanting to return some head rights, but it was actually through the courts. There was an auction. They had an auction on head right, and at that time we were trying to figure out how much money do we put towards that bid, because there wasn't a clear path on how you determine the value of a head right. And so that was very brand new. We lost. We didn't put enough money aside. We lost the bid. But I'm glad that this is being brought up, and this has been an issue for a long time now. My own family has, I think as most of us probably here, have been affected by losing head rights from our families. And so I'm glad that this is being discussed, but I would love to work with the Minerals Council on addressing this issue. And if they feel they need this legislative branch to move forward with them, then most certainly. And that's the only way we can progress and move forward, especially on such a new important issue with our head rights. I think it is important. I would return them to the family. That would be the first area that I would go to. And then secondly, to the nation for the purpose of our mineral estate. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidates, you'll now have 1 minute for rebuttal. Ms. Jones, we'll start with you.
So I'll absolutely take my minute. After having an opportunity to think about it just a little bit, thinking about my brother's position and my daughter's position and my family's position with the head right that resides in our home or within our family, I believe it absolutely should go family first, and then to the nation, and would support the decision of the Minerals Council, whatever that decision may be. I agree that it would have to be supported through resolution of some sort, but let's do family first and then the nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tillman.
Thank you. There's a list out there that lists the non-Osages that possess head rights, and it's a pretty extensive list. And if you look at it, the Catholic Church, they own several. The University of Oklahoma, they own several, and the list just goes on and on and on. I forget the number of head rights that add up to the bottom number, but it's very, very significant. And when that day comes, I really hope and pray that we can negotiate in good faith with these folks to return those to the proper place to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sweezy.
Yes, I would just like to reiterate that we need to keep our money in with Osages. Remember, some of us fought tooth and nail. Some of us have even died for our head rights money. So we need to keep it with our families first. And I agree, some of my candidates have some good answers with
moving forward with the right plan of actions. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Whitehorn.
I think the only thing that I want to add to that that maybe I left unsaid was that the Minerals Council needs Congress's support. The Minerals Council needs a Congress that actively listens to them and fulfills needs that they have to meet the obligation. They do have a huge constitutional obligation to protect and preserve the minerals estate. So going to Washington D.C. and opening up the 1906 Act is always a critical juncture, I believe. We've done it since the 1906 Act has happened. We have gone up, that thing has been amended, I don't know how many times, but it's an important thing that Congress supports them in these efforts financially and also just in spirit with our hearts. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rebar.
Yes, thank you, and I can't remember if I told you, but I am a shareholder, and it wasn't by choice. I lost my father when I was quite young, at the age of 20, and then later my mother, and so I am a shareholder, and have been one for a long time in my life. I'm not trying to tell you my age, but it's been a while. But this piece of the 1906 Act is so important, and I agree most certainly. If there comes a point where we have to appropriate money to purchase headlights back, I'm in full support. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to the second question. Mr. Tillman, we'll start with you. Do you feel there is an inequity in appropriated money for Osage communities on the reservation? If so, how would you address that inequity as a member of Congress?
Could you repeat that, please?
Yes, sir. Do you feel there's an inequity in appropriated money for Osage communities on the reservation? If so, how would you address that inequity as a member of Congress?
Good question. Within the boundaries of the Osage Nation, it's pretty clear that Pawhuska, Gray Horse, and Hominy are the primary beneficiaries of the most amount of money that's appropriated. The other communities, based on their population of Osages that live there, there's so many Avan, Barnsdall, Scheidler. Are we doing enough? And I was just having this conversation with my wife. The Cherokee Nation, what they do with their tax dollars off their tribal tags, they take a percentage of that and give it to like 40% of their income from their tribal tags. And they divide that up based on population, and they give it to the schools. And they let the schools do anything that they want to do with it, whether it's to improve a basketball court by smart boards, whatever it is that they need to do. I do feel that some of our communities within the boundary are underserved, and there's got to be a way we can make it equal. But it is very true that Pawhuska, Gray Horse, and Hominy, those are our districts, and we have to take care of those. But there are very important Osage people that reside in other communities as well, and I do feel that they're underserved. So whether it's through tribal tags, there's got to be a way that we can help support. And to me, education's critical, to be able to get into those school systems and give those children the things and the resources that they need to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sweezy, would you like me to repeat the question? Okay. Do you feel there's an inequity in appropriated money for Osage communities on the reservation? If so, how would you address that inequity as a member of Congress?
That is a great question, and I will side with Mr. Tillman here. There is an emphasis of just being here in Osage County, in our reservation. Why is that? We have Osages all over. We need to open up these different programs, whether it be the school clothes or, our scholarship education is open to everybody. Why aren't all our other programs open to everyone on and off the reservation? There are other Osages that would definitely want to utilize and benefit off of these
resources and this assistance. I think it's important to not be non-exclusive. We want to include everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Whitehorn. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. I've got it. But it is a very good question. And I think that I see that and I hear that a lot among our people, that this one gets that much and this one always gets this and that. So you do hear that among our people. And I do understand that. I was raised in a family that we couldn't do that. I mean, our parents met our needs. And I think that the nation ought to be more forward-thinking in meeting the needs of all of our people, whether they belong to our cultural districts that are in Pawhuska, Hominy, and Grey Horse or Fairfax. What I see and what I have seen in the past, especially serving as appropriations chair, is Congress, the body itself, is not very good at budgeting. We wait till we get sent a budget from the executive branch, which is the practice, the protocol that's always happened. But we're the power of the purse. And I think that we can do some budgetary planning in advance. For example, I think donations has been a hot topic during this session. If Congress would sit among themselves and make these decisions about proportions of money, needs that our communities have, whether we're going to look at the needs of water systems in the communities, and I'm talking about all communities, and set aside in our minds the money and the dollar that we have to help in those areas of our community outreach to people, we should do so. Now, one thing I do want to say that's a little bit, well, it's not off topic, but I am so proud every time I drive down the road and I see an Osage vehicle driving down the road going to one of our communities, whether it's books, language, things to help our elders. It makes me very proud. So that's what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rebar.
Okay, thank you, Allison. So it's a good question. How do I feel about it? I'd say that rather than feel, I believe that, yes, there's some inequity, most certainly, to the amount of money that we fund, our historical boundaries here. And I do believe Congress does a good job budgeting, and I do believe that we have a lot of needs, and with that, the way we determine what the needs are, I co-sponsored with Speaker Goodfox a bill for a census. And we believe in Congress that voted along and Chief enacted is that we do not know what the needs are in our households. And so this is the first time that we've ever went out into our communities and which will identify where you live, and the results aren't done. So I can't really answer that. How do I feel? It bothers me when I know there's someone here at home that's homeless, and it hurts me because I know them. So it's different for me. I guess it's more personal. When I know somebody's struggling with addiction, or somebody's struggling with the lack of housing, or when somebody's struggling meeting their electric needs and I know them, that's bothersome. And so how do I feel? I wish we could fix everyone's financial issues. I really do, but there's right now we're capped with projected revenue right now from gaming. It's the same as it was last year. And so I look forward to continue to prioritize spending. And I do that with our folks' needs in mind. So I look forward to the results of the census. And once we receive those, then I'll be able to make more effective decisions.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, would you like me to repeat the question?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you feel there's an inequity in appropriated money for Osage communities on the reservation? If so, how will you address that inequity as a member of Congress?
So I do believe that there is an inequity of appropriated money on the reservation. I also believe that we are short on the reservation. We have needs both. Everybody's struggling right now, at least the real life people that I talk to, struggling to make their house payment, struggling to buy groceries. And I have a solution for that, and was the same solution I ran a couple of years ago, and that's to diversify our economic development. We do need somebody there to champion our economic development, because I believe it's not only the responsibility of the Congress to spend money, but it's also the responsibility to ensure generation of revenue. And we can't rely on our casinos to generate that revenue. Our tax commission makes a little money. We finally have some money coming in from our LLCs, but the needs are over what the money that we have. And if we want to create generational wealth within our Osage tribal members, we have to have economic development that is productive and sustainable. And that's something that I bring to the table. I work with many tribes throughout Indian country, helping them to establish their businesses, to generate a diverse revenue that they don't have to rely on grants. As long as we're relying on grants, we aren't truly sovereign because we're begging for money. We need them. Yes, I think they weren't built to sustain us. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're gonna allow for a 1 minute of rebuttal. And remember, rebuttal is also for polite disagreements among the candidates. I just wanted to put that forward here. So we'll start with you, Mr. Tillman.
Well, again, we talk about underserved communities within our boundaries here, within the Osage Nation. And there's always a difference to me between wants, people want something, and people need something. Those needs come before wants, in my opinion. And there are people out there that are very, very needy. And again, it's not only in Osage County. We have Osages that live in Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Texas, Colorado, California, all over the United States that are in need. They're in need. So got to figure out how we're going to get this accomplished, but I think it can be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sweezy. No rebuttal. Thank you. Ms. Whitehorn.
Just one thing I'd like to say. When I was speaking about Congress's obligation to maybe look at your projected revenue, maybe budget out what the amount of that projection that you're going to allow for certain issues, certain needs of our communities within the reservation boundaries, wasn't meant to say, I don't think that budgeting has been a good thing. I think that once you receive the chief's budget, you do the best you can with it to serve your people. The point I was trying to make is, I don't believe that there's pre-budgeting before the budget comes. Thank you. And wait, one more thing. Yay, Jackie Jones, economic development. We need to help our people in our communities, and the tribe has the ability to do that, but we haven't focused real well on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rivar.
Okay, thank you, Ellison. And, I wanted to, while I have a chance, thinking of the future and generations ahead, which I do, when I'm voting on a bill, I did sponsor money to the tune of 5.7 to put in our permanent fund for the future, which is very restricted and can only go back to our people with regards to direct services. So I do want to commend my colleagues and the chief and everyone to help move that legislation along. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jones.
I don't know that there's a whole lot to rebuttal. Everybody has made accurate statements up here. Again, I will refocus our minds to all the needs that we need. We need elder care, we need top of the line health care, top of the line education, top of the line resources for our language and cultural activities. And I don't know that it's fair to our main source of income, the casino, to fund all of that. Again, I've had a focus for the last 4 years assisting tribes to diversify their revenue sources, and business development is one of those focuses. Again, I have experience there. I'm willing to bring that to the table of the Osage Nation. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to our third question. Okay, we're going to begin with you, Ms. Sweezy. Now that COVID-19 related federal funds have largely been spent, how should the tribe prioritize their spending going forward? You have 2 minutes.
We have our casinos, but they aren't, we drive by them, there's no one there. Why? We need to go out and do other resources. We have our ranch that's going. What else can we do? I would recommend we go after federal funding. Some might say it's begging, but I want to amplify that we should go after federal funding. The federal government has the trust responsibility relationship with all federally recognized tribes. The Osage Nation needs to be going after that money. We're entitled to that money. Why aren't we going after it? We need to set another plan of action to go for this money. We're entitled to it. We shouldn't put all our emphasis, all our revenue into the casinos. We need to come up with other resources to appropriate our funds and give to the Osage people. We need to unite and give money to our people. That's what we need to do. I would recommend federal funding. Go after federal funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White.
What next after the ARPA and CARES dollars? We've done a lot of expansion here at the nation with those dollars. And you know, to meet some of our people's needs, some of our nation's needs. But I want to take it back to what do we do? What do I see that we have done on the land? One of the things I've seen is the butcher house down in Hominy by our industrial park there, by our casino there. I think it's been in the newspaper that our chief, or the executive branch, has bought cattle and they're wanting to process their own cattle. So that's all about the land. It's all about the land that we own in community. Good things, natural resources come off of it. So I think that with those, to move forward with that, we need to budget and look at how we're going to make those dollars spent be sustainable. We have a small ranching operation, my brother and sisters and I, and we have a sustainable, it's a sustainable operation. We don't have to come out of pocket and pay money to have our herd, but we feed our families with it. Now, I believe the Osage Nation can do that, but I think it's going to take legislation and prioritization to do that. I believe we can feed our people at a discount rate. We can have a protein source here on our lands for our people to meet their needs. We have the harvest land, I think is that what that's called? Harvest land. We can grow produce. We can develop those to such a level that it sustains itself, that the tribe's not having to come out of pocket and put money into those programs. We can sell some and we can feed our people with the rest. But that takes budgeting, it takes planning, it takes a goal, and I am all for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rebar.
Okay, thank you. That's another good question, and it's one that's before Congress right now during HUNCA. We always look at the spending practices, and a lot of times in Congress, or I'm sorry, Ms. Whitehorn, Congresswoman Whitehorn. So she's right on when we talk about the projected revenue. We have a resolution that's in that we work on every year annually to see what our projected revenue is, and in that resolution, there's outlays for each branch. And when I was elected to Congress, I also included the villagers, which are important to me, in the Minerals Council, because I wanted to ensure that they receive some of the the monies to be set aside for spending in that year because they weren't. And that was something that I wanted to see. And so we have a means through projected revenue. If you don't have the revenue, you can't exceed projected revenue, that's in law. And the outlays kind of help describe to the branches how much that they have to spend. But again, it goes back to some of these services that Maria mentioned with the harvest land and the butcher house. Are they for profit? Well, right now they can't be because of the restriction with ARPA dollars or the CARES dollars. And so until 2026, then we're gonna have to decide, is that a business or is that a service to the people? And I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was on the 31st Tribal Council, we had the same discussion about the grocery store in Brainworth or Fairfax, and it's a hard decision. You wanna be able to provide a service to your people, but at the same time, you wanna bring in revenue and start that economic development base that everybody's talking about, and I totally agree with that. So how do we get there?
Thank you. Ms. Jones?
On rebuttals, right?
Oh, no, we're still on your the answer.
Okay, perfect. So, I love talking about money as, especially when it comes to business. And when the nation received the ARPA money and the CARES money, I knew eventually that would run out. And I also knew that it would come with restriction because it comes from the federal government. Again, when we're not making our own money, we don't make our own rules into how that money is distributed out. Limits us to the reservation, getting that money out to our people who don't live here for whatever reason that may be. I love the diverse conversations that I receive from constituents from all over the world. Where my priorities would be, we have to have money to be able to take care of our people. And one of the things I listened to in the last session was that we had our cultural center just spread out through the nation. And that was a little bothersome to me because that's why we're sovereign, is because our culture and our language. So I'm always gonna make that a priority because that's what makes us who we are, and the outreach needs to be there. Again, we can't rely on the federal government forever to fund our needs and our wants. And who's to say that someday we don't get a president out there who's going to say, okay, we've done our fiduciary duty to you, make it on your own. What if there's another COVID and the casino shuts down? Then where's our money coming from then? So those are the things I ask you to think about when casting your vote. You need somebody who will champion our businesses, champion our boards to be successful in those businesses, and I'm willing to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tillman?
Could you repeat the question?
Of course. Now that COVID-19 related federal funds have largely been spent, how should the tribe prioritize their spending going forward?
Thank you. Yes, we received $180 million for CARES Act and ARPA funding. We had till 2024, which is this year, to obligate it. We had till 2026 to spend it. We spent it. I don't think there's much left, $70,000. So what we're going to sustain going forward using tribal dollars, again, we have to put our elders and put them first and take care of them. But we have so many new builds out there. We have Lost Creek Ranch that we have that's just sitting out there. How are we going to sustain that and keep it moving forward? We have a beautiful PRT center that's going in. How are we going to stock it with top quality doctors and counselors and keep it sustained and moving forward? Senior housing, the butcher house, how are we going to maintain that? How are we going to maintain harvest land? We bought these with federal dollars, not thinking about going forward, moving forward. How are we going to sustain these? The Osage Nation Ranch, how are we going to keep it moving forward? It's got $40 million worth of remediation that needs to be done before we can put it into trust. And the thing that scares me the most is this probably a 6-month survival rate with our $30 million that we have in our savings account. If anything ever happens to the casino again, we can last for 6 months. Cherokee's 10 years, Chickasaw's 20 years, 6 months. Let that sink in. So that priority of spending going forward is going to be very, very difficult to figure out. But I think you have to put our elders and our children first. Thank you.
Thank you. Now each candidate will have 1 minute for rebuttal, and so we'll begin with you, Ms. Sweezy.
Well, I think everyone has said some pretty great things up here. I agree. We have all these things going on, but what are we gonna do with it? How are we gonna move forward? We have this money and we need to give back to our people, but we still have to survive as a tribe. Like Mr. Tillman says, we have several things brewing, we have several things going on. We don't know what's gonna come of it. One thing I would like to see eventually is, can we do a school? Can the Osage Nation have a college? Something to think about. We can charge tuition on that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Whitehorn.
Thank you. A lot of good things were said about how to move forward from the CARES Act money with prioritizing what we're going to do with this great windfall that we've had. When I was talking about sustainable ranching, sustainability with food sustainability, I'm not necessarily speaking of for-profit programs. I'm talking about getting to the level where you sell enough, like we do in our own family industry, you sell enough in order to pay for your crop, your calf crop that you can put out there to feed your people. It's not, I don't believe we should make that be for profit. Right now where I stand, my mind can change about things though with good debate. And as far as going forward with these big issues that are looking at us as far as budget goes, that's why you elect Congress members. We need to get out. Our committee structure allows us to go out into our nation.
Thank you. Ms. Rebar.
Okay, thank you. And so for this last minute, I just want to make clear that you understand the money hasn't been spent. It's been obligated through appropriation, and a lot of our ARPA dollars have not been spent, but they have been appropriated to spend. And that's up to the executive branch when they actually spend those. And since I have the time, the PRT facility will be funded through third-party revenue. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, you have 1 minute for rebuttal.
My rebuttal would be to, let's utilize the business assets that we have. Let's champion those business assets that we have, because ultimately that's what we are going to rely on. If, you know, the competition is so saturated with casinos that, you know, I'm excited to see our new casinos here, but I really don't think, again, I hate to say it like this, but we just suck it up in you know, the services that we have right now. We rely solely or mostly on federal grants, and I believe that the nation is better than that. I believe we can earn our own money. Do I believe it'll take some time? Absolutely. 2010, I ran for your Congress to start a financial institution. Here we are. We're actually doing that. Thank you.
Mr. Tillman.
I'll wait my time.
Okay, we're going to move on to the fourth question. Okay, Ms. Whitehorn, we're going to begin with you. Do you feel there are enough programs and assistance for our Osage elders? Please explain.
No, I don't think that we could ever overdo anything to meet the needs of our elders. I'm standing here because of our elders. We're still a nation because of our elders. So I believe that they still have needs. Like I said, I spent a portion of my life with my elder father, and I saw the needs that he had. He was fortunate because he has 3 girls. I have 2 boys, I'm kind of a little bit scared. But he had 3 girls to watch out after him. But, you know, I realized that there are some Osage people that don't have that. And we need to figure out, I believe, not just government programs, but we need to figure out in community how to get groups together, NGOs, whatever you want to call them, of people that have concerns for our elders, that we can help them get back and forth to medical appointments, that we can help them go buy their groceries, that it takes organization and takes people that have a heart for that. And I'm going to tell you, during that period, my heart has changed about our elders. And not that it was a bad heart to begin with, but because I see how close it was, and I can see that there is a need out there in our elder community for more care from our Osage. I don't believe government can do everything for people. I think that the love in our hearts and prayer always helps. But I would like to, as maybe a member of Congress, try to champion some of those outside organizations to help with our elders. I don't know what that really looks like, but it's a good idea.
Thank you. Ms. Rebar. Yes, thank you. And again, another great question. I like the feeling questions today. Do you feel the Osage elders? You know, kind of the same. I think every family here has a lot of folks that they've had to be a caregiver for. I can see that because I know you folks sitting in here. And it's a hard role. I've had to do it myself. Angela talked about it this morning at her brunch. She brought up the assisted living, and I'm glad that she did, because you would think that that would have been the easiest bill to pass, but it wasn't. It was not. And, but it was our way to address the needs of our elders. And again, it goes back to the census. We don't know, we don't have the results. So I can't sit here and tell you factually what the needs are of our elders. We're waiting to hear that, but I can tell you how I feel. And that's the question. I feel like we don't do enough, and I wish we had all of the money in the world to serve our elders. I really do. But we do have some great programs there. And I think that needs to be said. We do have elderly housing and nutrition service and elder nutrition, and we have other direct services that help them. We want the assisted living to be built. Our health clinic, we're gonna have a brand new health clinic, and I'm very proud of that for our folks. And what else do we need? I don't know, but there's not one person in this room that I can say that doesn't care. We all love our elders. And I think anyone running for Congress, these 16 people, will care. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jones.
I don't believe there is enough programs and assistance for our Osage elders. I know that assisted living has been talked about and on the table for probably a decade now. Nursing homes, mental health, assistance to pay day-to-day bills. And that's not just here on our reservation, that's Osage's worldwide. And again, I'll just take it back. Those things cost. They cost money that we don't have at this point. And if we want to expand those services to not just our elders here, but our elders off reservation as well, then we've got to focus on business revenue generation. And I bring that to the table. Thank you.
Mr. Tillman.
Thank you. I was very lucky in my life to be raised by my grandmother, who was a full-blood Osage woman. And so my heart strings are very, very close to the elderly. If you recall, a couple of years ago when I was running for office, one of the platforms that I stood on was to have an elder hotline, where we had a group that was calling and checking on our elders, and a phone number that they could call into. Just, they love to visit. We love to visit. And just to have that opportunity to make a short phone call, but to have the nation reaching out to them. especially during emergencies and bad weather. I've got a group of about 5 that I call. John Baker's one of them. The other day in Hominy, the tornadoes are on your way, John, what are you doing? He said, I can't get in my cellar. I'm gonna have to back down there, and I got my shonky in one arm, and I'm trying to back down, I can't get in. I said, get in the bathroom, get in the toilet, so get pillows on your head. I said, who calls and checks on you? And he said, you and Pops, that's about it. But and I've got a group of elders that I always call, and I check on. I wanna make sure they're okay, especially when it's hot, especially when it's cold. I've delivered firewood, I've delivered groceries. It wasn't just me, there was a group of individuals that were going around to the villages and checking on our elders. We have a Title VI program here in Pawhuska that's been shut down for 3 months. That serves meals and gives a social opportunity to our elders to come to 5 times a week. And it's shut down, and it's not gonna be open until July. Where's your priorities? That's not a priority. Get it fixed, let's get it back up, and let's get it running. The other thing is transit and transportation. We could develop a system here to go and pick up our elders, take them shopping, take them to bingo, take them to whatever. Hadn't been done, but no, we're not doing nearly enough to serve our elders. Thank you.
Ms. Sweezy.
Thank you. No, I do not think we are doing enough for our elders. Myself, I'm part of this younger generation. A part of my teachings and backing, I have learned from my elders, these oral traditions, these teachings that have been passed down, and including my education, has made me have a better understanding and importance of our elders. I fully believe that we should try to get our youth involved, maybe get some youth programs going on, to want to hang out with some elders. The Meals on Wheels, that is an excellent program, and I would like to see that going again. There's some elders that will not eat at all. Sometimes they'll depend on that one meal a day. That's real important. Myself, I'm a caregiver. I love being able to help people, and we as Osage people, we need to come together and unite and have a compassionate heart for all of us, and our elders should be put first. Thank you.
Thank you. Now each candidate will have 1 minute for rebuttal. We're going to begin with you, Ms. Whitehoff.
No, thank you. I think a lot of good things were said about our elders. Thank you.
Ms. Rebar.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna use my minute rebuttal or not. I'm not trying to rebut anybody, but I just want to use this time if I may. I agree with everything that's been said. And when this is an Indian country issue, honestly. And I actually, when I was on the 31st, I had the opportunity to speak to other folks back then about the state of Oklahoma addressing this need and Native nations coming together to address the needs of our elders in the state of Oklahoma and using all of our resources. Healthcare for elders, it's very expensive. And so, again, I feel like we're at least addressing some of the issues. Could we do better? Most certainly. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jones.
I'm also going to use my time. I don't have anything to rebut up here. I think we can all agree that we all need, we want to take care of our elders. It's part of our culture. It's part of, at least that's how I was raised. I helped to caregive for my mother. When my grandmother was sick with cancer, I helped her as well. So I know, and I've also had an opportunity to spend time during COVID to help, different elders in our community, and that's important to me. Again, I know that the things that we need cost money. It all costs, and the more grants we receive to provide those resources, the more we are regulated. And the more we spend, the more we choose how we care for our elders. And thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tillman.
Thank you. I just briefly wanted to touch, my Aunt Nancy's down here. She just gave me the stink eye. So I wanted to look at you and tell you I love you. And we are where we are. And I'm grateful for Courtney for care of you and you're precious Jim to us. And she tells me the other day, she goes, Joseph, I had a porterhouse and a sweet potato for dinner. You're doing well. Love you. Thank you.
Ms. Weezy.
No rebuttal, great words said. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to our final question. And we're gonna start with you, Ms. Rebard. How would you balance the needs of different demographies? Let me start again. How would you balance the needs of different demographics within the tribe? Elders, youth, families, etc. Oh, sorry. No, I'm gonna switch the question out, sorry about that. I'm switching the question out because this was from the same, I had two questions from the same person in this one group, and I'd like to have it in the second group, so. Apologies.
Okay.
Here we go. If elected and you plan to keep a permanent, full, or part-time second job outside of your congressional seat, will you put the Osage Congress position first and not have excessive absences during the regular Tijo and Junca sessions or special sessions?
Okay, thank you. So, another great question. I've been absent for one session, and I've been absent for one committee meeting. And this is my full-time job, and I chose that. I chose that it was my full-time job. Nothing against anyone that has to work full-time. My family dynamic, my household is a little bit different than everybody's. It's just myself, Guy Ray, and our dogs. And I manage my money quite well. I'm very frugal. We operate off of a cash flow statement and a budget, and we have savings. And Guy Ray's like, oh Lordy, but because he has to abide, and I have to as well. And so this is my full-time job. But I'm going to give you an example because I have colleagues that have to have a full-time job, and that's okay because that's their family dynamic. However, I work hard, and it is a full-time job. It is what you make of it. And I respect my congressional salary, and I said that when I ran in 2020, and I still do. I will give you 100,000%. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jones? Yes, I can. If elected and you plan to keep a permanent or part-time second job outside of your congressional seat, will you put the Osage Congress position first and not have excessive absences during regular Tijo and Junca sessions or special sessions?
Will I put the Osage Congress first in my duties there? If elected, absolutely. I do have a job, but it's my own business. And I'm not in startup mode anymore. I do have time to commit. And it just, it goes along with what I do, which is to see young people successful in their entrepreneurship and to see, to be able to provide a resource for, our families. My family dynamic, I have 5 daughters and all of them but one are grown. I'm very good at budgeting and making sure, we haven't had our lights off. I've owned my home for almost 20 years now. I've always learned to make my own way. That way I can commit to the things that I'm passionate about, and I'm passionate about the Osage Nation. And I'm passionate about us being able to provide resources to our constituencies. And I think we can do that on our own. Thank you.
Mr. Tillman.
Yes. I do not have a full-time or part-time job. This will be my 8th year in Congress. Completing my 8th year, I think I've missed 5 times. The majority of those were to transport my father back and forth to doctor's appointments or whatever it would be. It is a wonderful position to be in. It is a full-time job. Your phone, your emails, your text messages, and you lay there at night from 1 o'clock in the morning to 3:30 in the morning thinking about what am I going to do down in session today? What's the best thing for our people? So it's very consuming. And I want you folks that are running for this office to know that that glass house they talked about, yeah, you're going to live in it. And you have to be accessible to the folks around you, especially, all of our Osage elders are children, and that makes a difference. So thank you.
Ms. Sweezy.
If elected, for me, I do not have a full-time job. I am not working. I am a stay-at-home mother. I've dedicated my adult life to my education, my children, my family. I'm so blessed to have such supportive parents, a supportive husband that helps me and is always there and backing me with everything. This is an honor to be up in this stage right now. It's an honor to be next to these people. For me, I was a little girl running around the hallways, following my dad and my grandma around, listening to the meetings that they were in. I've been around this political environment, and I had an interest in it. I've had an interest in it for a while. What type of person of my age and stature will look at the minutes and what's going on? I have an interest. I'm interested in this. I'm dedicated to this. This will be my job. I'm not working for myself. I'm working for the people. I have a compassionate heart, and I want to be a listening ear and be the voice for you. Thank you.
Ms. Whitehorn.
That's a good question, because I do believe that being a Congress member is a full-time job when you're in service to the people. There's always something that you should be doing if you're not. So when I was on Congress before, from the 8 years from 12 to 20, I believe my congressional record shows, and I'm pulling this out of a hat, but I think I had 3 absences to sessions the whole time I was there. I did keep office hours as a speaker and was in the office when I was there, and some as just a regular member. You go into your office every day, you talk to your colleagues. You have to keep your finger on the pulse of the nation. You have to go out into the departments and with the other businesses to our business entities to keep apprised of what's going on and how that's going to better serve your people. So I will continue in that, the footprints. I will be a full-time Congress member with your business, my only business. My husband and I do own a business in Hominy, which he's the main worker, and my son, I am moral support, and we travel some with our business, but that would be few and far between when I am in session or when there are other obligations. I believe that the committee structure at the nation is a good structure to help our Congress stay apprised of everything that's going on. I believe that every committee should meet 1 time a month at least, whether they need to or not. They can always find somebody to talk to about the areas that committee serves, and it just keeps you informed. So yes, and I do want to say I understand there are other people with family dynamics that have to have other work outside of Congress to make their ends meet, and I respect that. And for the most part, I've seen them all do a pretty good job at that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we're going to move on to the rebuttal phase, but before we begin, I just want to remind the candidates that the rebuttal period is to be used for polite disagreement on other candidates' statements. So I know y'all are pretty friendly up there, but just want to remind you to use that time to politely refute other candidates' statements. Thank you so much. Ms. Rebarger.
She's speaking to me or for me?
I'm just speaking to everybody. Just to clarify, this 1 minute period isn't to expand on your previous answer. It's to
Understood. I'm just
debate a little bit.
I saw an opportunity. So I'm gonna just tell you that with the hard work, I have to go to my report card. So I have sponsored 133 bills. And out of those bills, 129 have been enacted. So I have a 97% rate of my bills becoming law. And that's because of my colleagues and my relationship with the executive branch, working in a collaborative manner. I've attended 30 regular and special sessions. I have attended and participated in 268 committee meetings. And I've chaired one committee hearing. And so those are off of the words of Maria. I'm just kidding. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. So let's talk about committed time. On my own time, some of these Congress people who are on Congress right now previously knows I'm not beyond shooting a text, making a phone call, making a house call, and those efforts won't stop, even if I'm not on Congress, just because I have a passion for our people. I know we can do better, and I'm committed to that full time. Thank you. Mr. Tillman.
Yeah, you want us to get tough up here in the bubble? I think I'm gonna open up a restaurant. No, I respect the time we spend. One thing that I'm looking forward to, this will be, when I first became elected member of Congress, we were up on the hill where the Minerals Council is now. Had offices, even though we had roommates, at least we had a place we could go. Then we moved down to the old bank building, and we still had an office we could go to. But even though you shared it with another colleague, now we're pretty pitiful. We got a little bitty desk, one common area, probably one functioning bathroom, and it's hard to go down there and get anywhere. There's no privacy. So if somebody wanted to walk in and have a conversation with me about a delicate matter situation, there's no privacy. So hopefully someday soon in the future, the legislative branch will have our own building with our own offices. Thank you.
Ms. Sweezy.
Yes, I would just like to say that for me to be here and it means a lot for me because I would like to encourage people that are trying to do their best and be a leader or be something in their life. The Osage Nation has helped fund my college education, and one of my goals when I graduated was to give back to my community, my tribe in some way. So I'd really like that opportunity to try to give back to my tribe. Thank you.
Ms. Whitehorn.
I have no rebuttal.
Okay, thank you so much. We're gonna move on to, I'm gonna give each candidate their 1 minute for their closing statement, and we're gonna begin with you, Ms. Jones. So why I'm running is because I want increased commitment and top of the line Osage culture preservation, health services, benefits, education, and infrastructure. And we need a budget that supports that. I believe we need to focus on economic development. Again, I don't believe it's just the responsibility of Congress to appropriate, but also to encourage and support revenue generation. If you elect me, Jackie Jones, I'm committed and will continue to advocate for legislation and policy that supports a sustainable Osage Nation and Osage entrepreneurship. Revenue generation is something that our tribe needs. Again, we're limited on our resources when it comes to funds unless we're asking the federal government. Again, I believe we're better than that. Mr. Tillman.
Yes, I feel very privileged to be standing here in front of you. It's in my blood. It always has been, and it started with some great leaders in the past. My father being one who was chief of the Osages for 12 years and served in different various capacities as well. I've been fortunate enough to work with Chief Reddyville, been close to Chief Gray. I love the stories they all tell about our former leaders. I've been surrounded by some really, really excellent Congress members through my 8 years. I have been Speaker of the Congress, second Speaker of the Congress, chaired both standing and select committees. So I'm passionate about my job and what I do, and I really feel that I belong here, and this is the Lord's calling for me. Stop by our camp on election day. John Maker and I will be serving it up hot. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Ms. Weeson.
Thank you all for listening to us today. I'd just like to say that once again, it's an honor to be here for me and to be representing the younger youth that's coming in. Like I said, we're the future generations. I wouldn't be here have an interest without these people right here and the current people that are doing our tribal government. It's real important, and I would like to amplify continuing on our tribal government. I'd just like to thank you for your time again and listening to me, and thank you to all my fellow candidates for being extremely encouraging to me and nice to me and very welcoming. Everyone has been very nice to me. Thank you all again.
Ms. Whitehorn. Yes, I'd like to thank you all for your time again and your interest in your government. I think that's important. I've been interested for a long time. I guess I need to reiterate that I don't have a learning curve to be placed on Congress again. I've been on committees. I know the work of Congress, and it's to serve the people. I will do that again. I had a friend call me. Actually, she sent me a letter, and it was very encouraging to me. It's about our people and having happy hearts. And the word, I just want to tell you, the word righteous means right standing, to have right standing. And she sent me a scripture that says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. And that's Proverbs 29:2. And it's up to you, Osage people, to evaluate the people that you put in these seats to make the decision whether you think they're going to serve your people well. Thank you.
Ms. Rebar.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Osage News for doing this #1 and everyone here. And thank you to my goddaughter, Christy Radigal, for setting this up. She did an amazing job, and I'm proud of everybody here at the casino. I think they work hard. I'm going to continue to support the 25-year strategic plan because it's your plan. And I'm going to prioritize spending because it brings your plan to life. I'm going to continue to address any of our board challenges. I'm going to rebuild communication always, strengthen internal controls, and support sovereign-related issues. I will be there, I will be present, but I'll also be useful. There's a difference. I'm going to work hard. That's just who I am. For those that know me, I'm a constituent, I'm a shareholder, restricted landowner. I've been an employee, a director, an elected official, I'm a voter. I've lived here and I've lived outside of the reservation.
Thank you, Ms. Rebar. That concludes the first round of our debate. Please give the candidates a round of applause. We're going to take a 5-minute break before we call up the next round of candidates.
Yes.
Are we? All right, yes. She's going to guilt free. Guilt free. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, he's here.
They had like a little bit of one time too. Yeah, they did a good job.
Why can't it be?
It was fun.
Okay, everyone, we're gonna get started pretty soon. I'm gonna start calling our candidates up to the podium. Liberty Metcalf, John Maker, Alexis Martin, Tracy Phillips, and Angela Pratt. Please all come to the podium. Thank you so much. You can go ahead and you can stand anywhere, doesn't matter.
Oh, does she leave? Osage kids don't even There's a little thing. I need glasses. Free glasses.
Okay, everyone, we're gonna get started again on our second round of debates. I'm just gonna see if, would the second group of candidates like me to read the rules again, or are you okay? Okay, wonderful. I'm gonna give each candidate 2 minutes for their opening statement. I'm gonna start with you, Mr. Metcalf. You have 2 minutes.
All right, thank you, moderator, and thank you, hosts, thank you, attendees, thank you, fellow candidates and incumbents. My name is Liberty Metcalf. I live across the street, literally, in the Indian Village, or the camp, as we refer to it. A member of my family has lived in the camp for many, many decades. I'm a graduate of the University of Oklahoma. I have a bachelor's degree in political science. I graduated in December 2007. 5 months later, in May 2008, I was working for the Assistant Secretary for Indian Affairs at the Department of the Interior, doing congressional and legislative affairs work. I spent a decade doing that work. I understand the legislative process, the stamina and strength and the ability to compromise that you need to get things done. From what I've heard today, anybody who gets elected or is an incumbent has a lot of work to do. And I feel that there's a lot of things that we can get together and do as a people. One of the main things that I would like to talk about is just gaining parity with the surrounding communities for our 3 villages. As far as infrastructure, as far as taking care of our elders, I want to get us up to par, get the plumbing up to par, the electric, the transportation needs, the driveways, get everything like that taken care of. Because those communities are where people come back to whenever they come back home to the res. And I want to be there and provide that infrastructure for them. I have many other thoughts, but I'm limited on time, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Maker.
First, I'd like to say thank you to the Osage News for putting this event on today. And thank everybody for being here. First, I say my name is John Maker. I'm from Hominy, Oklahoma. I've been living here on the Osage Reservation my whole life. And I come from a traditional Osage family. And I'm currently on the Congress. I've been serving youth for many years now. I know what it takes to hold this seat and to all the challenges that we face. And we face many, and we're going to have challenges in the future that we're going to have to address. But our people have faced challenges ever since we were in Missouri, when we first were forced out of Missouri. So it's not new to us. But our strength of our Osage people is when we work together. And that's the only way we can go into the future successfully, by working together. I bring a lot of experience and loyalty and integrity to this Congress. I'm a veteran of the United States Army. I served 2 years overseas duty. I'm a restricted Osage and a restricted landowner. I'm a head right owner, and I know what it takes to work in the protection of our sovereignty and our natural resources. I came from a very traditional family with full bloods, and my dad was a full blood Osage. My mom was half. All my grandparents are all original Latin full bloods. So I have a master's degree in education, and I think I bring a lot of experience, integrity, and loyalty to the office. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pratt.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Osage News and editorial board, for bringing us here together today. Thank you, my Osage people, for your attendance. And that's my mantra this, throughout this election is we, the Congress, is a body of 12 individuals who represent over 30,000 people. And there needs to be a commitment moving forward to hearing your voice. So my name is Angela Pratt. I have sat on the Congress in previous years. I am asking for your vote to be seated on the Congress moving forward. I have been a part of the progress that's happened over the recent years. And there has been stated multiple times today, so much more to do. I have been a strong voice for you. I understand this government, and that's really what it takes. I am committed to my people. I'm Osage through and through. That's just the heart of who I am and my family and who we are. And so we really have to care about what's going on with our people, the needs of our people, but have a good understanding of our government, because it can get very complicated. And you hear things in the community, and I just want our people to be educated more on how our government works. I have spent the last 2 years on the first ever tribal advisory board on Indian Affairs for the Secretary of the VA. I was appointed to that position, and I am a member of a co-chair of the National Congress of American Indians. So not only in our own tribal government, I have a vast network throughout Indian country that we need to keep up with on issues and Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Horton.
Thank you so much. I want to start by addressing the people that I have next to me on the podium here, all the way to the back, and everyone watching at home. I am honored and humbled to be here in front of you today. I want you to know that you are all deserving of love and support and deep, easy breaths that I hope to help provide to you guys. My name is Alexis Martin. I am the firstborn daughter to the late Brandy Lee Evans and Walker Martin. He said people called him Hawk at Haskell, so if you guys want to get nostalgic with him, you can. He is the son of the beautiful Leanne Ammons. She is my grandmother and the descendant of Rose Hill and Antoine Albert. On my maternal side, my grandmother was the late Carolyn Lee Perrier, and she is the descendant of Napoleon Perrier and the Hislam fiasco, which has been fun to read about. Like I said, I'm a proud mother of 3 girls, and they are a huge part of why I'm running today. I have a huge heart for not only our people, but specifically our youth, with the perspective I've had and the work I've done in our tribe, with our Osage Nation Counseling Center. I have been humbled and honored to help our people, but I've also seen where we're allowing them to fall through the cracks. And I think it's very important that we start looking at the root causes of that and addressing them and creating spaces for them to come and heal and be curious and be messy and know that they are loved and supported, and then creating ways to help support them in those areas. I like what Jackie said. We need a lot of economic development, and I have a lot of ideas to help us get through that and to help our people. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Phillips.
Okay, Danhe Pashe, Tracy Phillips, Jaji Abria, Hula Tumi, Wajaji Jaji Abria, Tichu Washaki Gawalan Abria, Pasuoli Mikshe, Eco Marguerite Thomas Finnegan, Indatsi Vida Denzel Raymond Finnegan, Lumpschwein Mitseki Maria James Indaki Washu Pishi Indatsi Morels. My name is Tracy Phillips. My Osage name is Eagle Woman from the Sky Clan in Grey Horse District. I live in Tulsa. My grandmother was Marguerite Thomas Finnegan. My dad was Denzel Raymond Finnegan from Pahuska, and we descend from Maria James, older sister of Washipishi, father of the Morels. My husband and I have been married for 23 years and have 1 daughter, Sable Grace, at Tulsa University, getting her chemical engineering degree. I am the founder and CEO of Natural Evolution, an electronics recycling company that is the only Native American woman-owned E-Steward certified NAID MBE Hub Zone certified in the United States, certified company in the United States. We've recycled over 65 million pounds from federal agencies, tribal governments, Fortune 100 companies, and municipalities in the lower 48. Prior to 2003, I spent 8 years in information technology on elite teams revolutionizing technology in the healthcare and telecom industries. I believe it is vital we protect and exercise our Osage sovereignty. We are resilient as people and as nation, and we are financially secure. And as the actions I will take will be in support of these commitments. I am honored to be considered as a candidate, and I bring decades of valuable experience to the table.
Okay, we're going to begin with our first question. Sorry for the squeaking here. Okay. The current term limit for elected officials is 5 terms. Do you feel the terms should be shortened, lengthened, or lifted, and why? Mr. Metcalf, we'll start with you.
That's a tough question. I do believe in term limits for politicians. Those in elected office, I don't think that there should be a legacy built upon it shouldn't be a career. You can help in an elected basis while you're in office, and you can also participate and get things done when you're out of office. So that's my response. Thank you.
Mr. Baker.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I in fact sponsored the bill to the one you talked about just now for term limits. And when I was working on that bill, I talked to a lot of people wherever I met them, restaurants or wherever. I said, what do you think about term limits? And some people were against it. They said, well, the voters are the term limits. And then some people say, well, we don't want just someone, I wouldn't call it a legacy. I call it when your supporters come to you and say, hey, we want you to run. I go, you know, I say, well, if you support me, I'll run as long as it was the people vote me in. But I was responsible for that legislation for term limits. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pratt.
Thank you. Yes, I was also in Congress when this bill, I believe, but when I first heard of term limits being discussed, the first time was in 2012, and it was already being discussed. I kind of thought that was interesting because our government just started in 2006. So somebody was already tired of somebody. So I just thought that was interesting. So then it took many sessions over and over and over, and this was discussed in Congress. As Congressman Maker stated, he did bring it up several times, to discuss it. Well, I don't know necessarily that, because I do know tribal leaders who spend many years there, 15, 20, 25 years. When things are going good, your tribe is thriving, your economic development is cruising. Why change, why would you have to leave? I'd hate for you to lose a really good leader. However, we got there because I think it was originally written, you come in 20 years, you have to set out one term, and then you can come back and start over. And I believe that Congresswoman Goodfox actually said, well, I don't know, like if you're out, then you should just, maybe be out. So I think we amended it to 20 years and you're gone. So I don't know necessarily, like I said, if things are going well, and I do believe that the voters, the people put them there. So that's the people speaking. However, the people spoke. So that's where we're at now. The people did speak on term limits. And so, but I also know, just like I said, from 6 to 12, if somebody has been in 1 year and isn't being effective, isn't participating, isn't doing their best job, making it go, making it good, then maybe 1 year is enough. So again, like I said, I think at this point the people spoke. So thank you.
Ms. Martin.
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. I personally do not believe one way or the other if we should or we shouldn't. I believe, like John said, the people are the voters. They will vote who they feel like needs to be in there. And I believe if you're running with good heart and good intention for your people, that they will see that and they'll vote you in. And I believe that's important, and I believe we should allow each individual the time they feel like they need to complete whatever missions they see would help our people thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Phillips.
The people have the voice. And so people have engaged people that actively vote, actually make the decisions of who sits in the seats. And that, I believe, is a very powerful tool. And we can have term limits, but having experienced people in your government, I think is really important. And so, I'm not against term limits if that's what the people want, but ultimately they have to vote every election.
Okay, now we're gonna allow for the 1 minute rebuttal. And I just wanna reemphasize the rules that your 1 minute time is to rebut another candidate's statement, not to continue your own, what you said in the first round. And if you wanna pass, you feel free to pass, but if you do start to expand upon your original statement, you risk me cutting you off. So, Mr. Metcalf, we'll start with you. 1 minute.
I don't have anything to add other than just to say I stand by that I'm for term limits.
Thank you. Mr. Maker?
I just want to say again, the voters have the final say, no matter what term limits or not, so. Just have to rely on our Osage people, especially the young, to be involved. That's the reason right there.
Thank you, Mr. Maker. Ms. Brown?
I'm good. I think I stayed in my position. Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
I have no rebuttal, thank you.
Ms. Phillips?
I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you. We will move on to our second question.
I want to read you on that first group. Okay.
The second round, we'll just get a little bit spicier here. Here we go. Mr. Maker, we're going to start with you. Would you fund an Osage Nation Chamber of Commerce? And if so, would that funding be limited to reservation-based Osage-owned businesses or not? Please explain your answer.
Wow, whoever wrote that one, thank you, tell them thank you. Well, this is something that we've never discussed, creating a chamber of commerce. I mean, that's something that could take a lot of discussion, especially dropping that bomb on me right now. We've never even discussed anything close to that. I mean, we have our LLCs, we depend on them to do all of our businesses, and yeah, that would take a lot of discussion right there. And what was the second part of that?
The second part is, okay, so I'll just read the whole question. Would you fund an Osage Nation Chamber of Commerce? And if so, would that funding be limited to reservation-based Osage-owned businesses or not?
There's a lot of parts of that question. The funding part, that would be probably unpopular with the Osage public, I would say, just in my personal opinion. It would take a lot of discussion, probably town hall meetings, planning with our LLCs, all our commerce committee. There's a lot there. That's a complicated question right there. So I couldn't really give a yes or no on that without a lot of discussion. And as for the part limit to the reservation, we get the most calls I get are from out-of-state members who feel like they are not getting everything they deserve. And that's always I think that's probably the most calls any of the Congress, past or present, we get those calls all the time. So that is a tough one. But if that ever did happen, oh, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pratt.
Thank you. Actually, there was a resolution of Congress that came up just a couple of years ago regarding the chamber group I can't recall if it was specifically the Pawhuska community, but it was of Osage-owned businesses in the Pawhuska area. And I think we discussed that. And at that time, it wasn't necessarily something that we were looking to fund because we aren't necessarily set up in that way. And we don't have, the nation's not, hopefully we will move forward with the small business loan with the CDFI, a place to borrow money organization board moving forward. However, I think there was an effort, and that effort is obviously welcome for Osage Nation business owner or Osage privately owned businesses to form those kinds of groups. And I don't know that the nation wouldn't support them. I'm sure that we would. We're just not necessarily set up like that in businesses right now. I think we should be. I would love to be. I would love to have Osage Nation as well, businesses, small businesses of our own, whether it be HVAC and carpet cleaning, like small business type things that we need in our community. So there was an effort there. Would I be opposed to supporting it? No, I don't know what their support would really need. They maybe operate like other Chamber of Commerce groups, and I think that would be up to them, whether they want to have means of communication with Osage-owned businesses outside of the reservation. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Martin.
Thank you. I am absolutely not against this question at all. I think this would be great. We have many Native American owned businesses that are small and they're trying to thrive. And I feel like we should do everything that we possibly can to help them set up and do their best. I think that goes back to our economic development. I think we have to be sustainable in order to sustain other businesses. And I hope to see that we start investing in other ways to create revenue to do so. Thank you.
Ms. Phillips.
I actually sat on the board of American Indian Chamber of Commerce for several years and participated for over a decade or longer in the American Indian Chamber of Commerce in both the state of Oklahoma and New Mexico. So I see the value in working with other businesses. I would definitely, if there wanted to be a group that started another chapter, aligning themselves with a already thriving organization is actually the most successful way to go. I'm for a small business development center, and working with and supporting other entrepreneurs is very successful, and that's actually how you support economic growth.
Thank you. Mr. Metcalf.
Regarding the Chamber of Commerce issue, I believe that is something that would require research, a fair amount of research, but I do believe that the ultimate outcome would be positive to have all of our businesses that could collaborate together and provide for each other and help each other out. As far as should the funding, I think the tribe should support Osages no matter where they live. Thank you.
Thank you. Just so for the candidates to speak closer to the microphone so that we can capture your answers for the people for the people that are watching our live stream. Okay, we have 1 minute for rebuttal. Mr. Maker.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I didn't say that I was completely against it. I just said it would take a lot of discussion, a lot of planning, getting with our LLCs, our commerce, all of our committees. I just say that it's going to take a lot of work and planning, how much is it going to cost. There's a lot to that. So I didn't say I was against it. I just said it'd take a lot of work to get it done. Thank you.
Ms. Pratt.
I don't know if it's.
You're scaring me with this rebuttal thing now.
I'm sorry, I'm not scaring anybody.
Well, okay, well, so I don't think it's, again, I think there was already the effort there, and it really wasn't for the Congress to do. There was a resolution of support. So we would support it by resolution, saying, yes, go forth, start your Chamber of Commerce. So if Osage Nation businesses want to get together in town and start up, as Tracy mentioned, follow a model that's already there, other towns. I mean, so we as a nation, the casinos do donate to the Chamber of Commerce's in our community already. So if that was formed, I'm sure that there would probably be a donation avenue per our casinos, because they do as well. They hold them at the casinos in the towns. So by all means, if you want to start the Osage Nation business owners, I think that's what we're talking about here, is the Osage tribal members, business owners can start one for sure. And it would likely be supported. I just don't think it's that complicated, because I think it's separate from our LLCs.
Thank you. Ms. Martin.
I have no rebuttal. Thank you.
Ms. Phillips.
The only point that I would like to clarify is that it actually would be pretty easy and wouldn't take that much time, and there's already lots of successful models out there, and so it's not the job of the Osage Congress to actually develop that, but support that. And if the will in the community is there, then absolutely the nation should support that, and that actually should come through a small business development center, which the nation currently doesn't have, but I would support that.
Can I repeat that? Oh, I'm too late.
Mr. Metcalf.
I have no rebuttal.
Oh, okay. All right, we're gonna move on to our third question. Okay, Ms. Pratt, we're gonna start with you. As part of the Osage Nation and a member of the Two-Spirit LGBTQ community, it is important to know how you plan on protecting us as individuals and members of the tribe during this tumultuous time for us. You have 2 minutes.
Say it one more time for the middle part.
Yes, ma'am, please turn your microphone on.
Okay, please repeat the question.
Yes. As a part of the Osage Nation and a member of the Two-Spirit LGBT community, it is important to know how you plan on protecting us as individuals and members of the tribe during this tumultuous time for us.
Well, there are probably, I would say, emotional support obviously needs to happen, and I'm just trying to clearly understand the question of what they're meaning, but do I support, Two-Spirit community? Yes. My daughter is bisexual, and so obviously that hits close to home for me, and the way that, they might be treated or perceived in the community. So I absolutely fully support the LGBTQ plus community. And I'm trying to think of how exactly I understand the climate that they're in, the political climate that America is in. So if there are needs, the Congress, the Osage Nation would need to hear more from that, but obviously being available to them and making sure that they know we support them and, offer support groups, counseling. But I would just probably need to understand a little more, what their needs might be. But that's definitely first and foremost in making sure, protections in the workplace. I honestly can't recall. I thought Congress did address that, but having that protection in place in the workforce is one means via, legislation. But other than that, probably through support groups and counseling and just overall statement of the nation as leaders that we are there to protect them and should they have needs arise. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Martin.
Thank you. This is a super great question, and I'm very glad that it was posed. My faith calls me to love God first and foremost, but next love my neighbor as I love myself. So I am in full support of every single one of our tribal members, no matter how they identify. And if they are in need of legislation, I'm willing to listen. And I would hope that the rest of our candidates would be willing to listen. I've been a firm advocate for people in their mental health. And I know that we have long suffered as a people tons of abuse that has stemmed back to, the boarding school days. And we haven't been able to deal with that, I don't think, in a right and just way. I believe that we need to start creating spaces for any individual who has suffered any kind of trauma to come forward and know that they are going to be loved and that they're going to be supported in anything that they are needing to do to become the best versions of themselves. And I would hope and I would ask that the rest of the candidates and the incumbents and the people that are still in seats now, that they realize that. And if they don't give them the seat at the table, then I highly suggest you bring a folding chair. Thank you.
Ms. Phillips.
I'm completely against any discrimination against any persons, no matter how they identify, sexual orientation, however that is. We are all Osages, and that's how I view it. And so if there's any particular needs that communities aren't feeling that they're supported, I think welcome that conversation and see what we can do to change that and support them in any way that's necessary.
Mr. Metcalf.
This is a difficult question. It's not anything novel. Culturally, it's something that's difficult as far as bullying goes, and being transgender, queer, as some people used to say in the past. I don't know if that's still the term. But I don't believe that they should be bullied or assaulted. It's nobody's business who they sleep with, who they like. What they do in behind closed doors is nobody's business. That's something that I think is new, maybe, that should be addressed. I would say contact your local officials and maybe they could get something started with you. And if you're being assaulted or bullied, then you should definitely contact somebody and get help with that, report that. Thanks.
Mr. Maker.
Yeah, I would just go with existing state federal law we already have in place. Excuse me. Yeah, we all know this is in the news quite a bit. Just recently, there was a young woman from, I think, Osage that tragically took her life because of the situation that she faced in her school, just as a young woman. So it was really horrible. But as for the Osage tribe, I think we do a good job of respecting all of our tribal members' rights to their lifestyle. We don't try to get involved in their way of life. I think that's up to the individual, what they want to do. And I just think we just go by state federal law, existing law we have right now. Thanks.
Okay, each candidate will now have a minute for rebuttal. I won't cut anybody off, so. Ms. Pratt.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say, I wasn't sure if I looked at the question again and it says, how do you plan on protecting us? And so like I said, it's beyond, what we can to do emotionally support. I just want to be very clear saying that if there are needs, I will fully advocate on your behalf as a Two-Spirit individual. No offense to teen moms, but I was, when my daughter came to talk to me about her sexuality, I was scared to death. She was gonna tell me she was pregnant. So telling me, I was relieved that she wanted to share that she was bisexual over being pregnant. Like I said, no offense to teen moms, but I just, saw her life moving forward, and these are my children. I love them, and I will fully advocate on your behalf. Thank you.
Ms. Martin.
I don't have any rebuttals, thank you.
Ms. Phillips.
The only thing that I would add is I would like to exercise our Osage sovereignty and ensure that our laws are in place that really protect all Osages. So if there's areas that we need to strengthen, let's exercise our sovereignty and do that.
Mr. Metcalf. Mr. Maker.
I'll just say that I will treat and respect any Osage citizen who's in need of anything, whatever it is. I've gotten several calls late at night, early in the morning. See a good friend of mine at an event, needs $20 for gas. Whatever our citizens need, I'm always there to help. I'm here for the forgotten Osages, always. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to our fourth question. Okay, I'm going to begin with you, Ms. Martin. As a member of Congress, which funding area would you prioritize? Health, education, or direct services, and why?
Thank you. Absolutely. Number one would be health. With my experience, my perspective that I've had in the mental health and the substance use area, like I said, I see where the people are falling through the cracks. I've been doing my best to create relationships throughout the county that will help us build these bridges and fill these holes so that we do not have any more overdoses, so that we do not have any more suicides. So we have individuals who feel loved and supported. I think that starts with our mental health and meeting our members' Maslow's hierarchy of needs, their basic fundamental needs. I think it'll be very hard to sustain a casino or any economic development that we may have if we do not have people in a good way to do so. Thank you.
Ms. Phillips?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, ma'am. As a member of Congress, which funding area would you prioritize? Health, education, or direct services, and why?
So we've already committed to a lot of, actually the big three. And so it's hard to roll those programs back. But if I had to pick one, health. I mean, health, my dad died of diabetes at 59. I've had my own struggles. My daughter's had health problems. My husband's had 5 surgeries in 18 months. I understand the challenges, then debilitating effect on families and people that health can have. So really, you can't do anything else unless you're mentally and physically healthy. And so if I had to pick just one, it would be health.
Thank you. Mr. Metcalf?
Priorities. I would prioritize healthcare for a lot of the reasons that my fellow candidates have spoken on. It's hard to learn when you're sick. So, and as far as the statistics go in Indian country, as far as teen suicide, infant mortality rates, it's not very good across the country. And that's something that a lot of tribes are having to deal with because, frankly, diabetes, alcoholism, drug addiction are killing people. Suicide. People see no way out of the reservation. They're lost. They're hopeless. They don't know what to do. They got nowhere to go. Perhaps they're LGBT, whatever. I can't remember words right now. But anyway, let's just say they're that way. But anyway, yeah, I would definitely prioritize healthcare. Sorry, I got kind of lost.
Mr. Maker?
Well, I think the tribe already right now, the nation is doing a good job with the resources we have from gaming for our direct services. And if I did have to choose one, the top priority would be health because how important it is. It's life and death. Getting a college degree isn't life and death, but having good health care is. So we just got to always remember our elders, our former leaders, they always made sure that our people are taken care of. We have a word in our language, it's called wahoy, disrespect. And we need to have more of that in this nation. And that spirit, wanahe, we need to have that, a good spirit to take care of our people. But if I had to choose one, the most important, it would be health.
Ms. Pratt?
Thank you. I would also address healthcare because we as Native people, like being healthy and as was mentioned from a holistic approach, and health is everything. Health includes even having food security, proper housing, clean drinking water, access to water. There are many tribes throughout the nation that don't have those things. So it's a holistic approach, and it's mind, bodies, spirit. And so as a longtime advocate for mental health, I spoke, this morning earlier about normalizing these kinds of conversations and helping folks to understand that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to do counseling. Counseling is actually a great thing. Native veteran suicide has risen by 52%, and that is unacceptable. So these are all things that are plaguing our communities and all across Indian country. We talk about how powerful the mind is. It really is. If your mind's not strong, the rest of your body's not going to, work properly. while we are making advances and we are looking towards a state-of-the-art health facility, and I'm proud of that, in addressing transportation in the area and well checks on elders is what they've started doing, and that's good. A lot of times, you know, even in Indie country, we say, finally, well, it's been a long time coming, but, you know, at least we're there and at least we're getting started. And I'm proud that they're addressing these needs, and we have to do whatever we can to support them moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll allow 1 minute for rebuttal. Ms. Martin.
Thank you. I have no rebuttal.
Ms. Phillips.
I have no rebuttal.
Mr. Metcalf.
Pass.
Mr. Maker.
Well, I don't really have anything to challenge anybody up here on their responses, but I would like to say that health is so important, and for the elders especially. Just like we heard earlier from Congressman Tillman, when that tornado was coming towards Hominy, and he called me and said, "Hey, brother, you better watch out. There's a tornado headed right towards you." I said, "I know. I'm watching on the news right now." He said, "Well, go to the cellar." I said, "Well, I don't know if I can get down those stairs." But if you ever seen those cellars that they built for the elderly, I don't think a 90-year-old woman or man could get in those cellars the way they're built right now. It's like a ladder. You have to turn around and go down backwards in that. So that's a big part of the healthcare that we need to address. Thank you.
Thank you.
TMI, but I just had my second colonoscopy this last week. And I say that because it's important. My family, I've had 3 family members die of colon cancer. And so that's real. And I have taken care of them dying slowly, daily, before my eyes, having to do things for these family members that I know they never intended for me to be doing for them. Caring for them in ways, you know, they're my family members who used to mentor me and scold me and guide me, and now I'm having to do things that I know they wouldn't want me to have to do for them physically. And so healthcare checks are important. So that's what I want to say, and Native people deserve access to quality healthcare per treaty rights. So get yourself in, get your family in, spread that to people to take care of them, because people in our community are dying too young. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to our final question. Okay. Ms. Phillips. As a member of Congress, and with the recent tourist activity stemming from the film Killers of the Flower Moon, will you fund a tourism department for the Osage Nation?
Yes, I actually believe that we should have a Department of Commerce, and tourism can fall underneath that. We need to increase our economic development. When you come to Osage Reservation and you want to do business, it's very difficult to figure out who you're going to do business with, and there's a lot of moving parts. There's no actual central place and that is looking at the big picture. And we have our LLC, that's part of their job, but we can do so much better, and tourism falls under economic development in my mind.
Mr. Metcalf.
I think the tribe should definitely have a tourism department. I think they should support tourism as well as educating the outside public on who we are and why we're here. That being said, tourists in a lot of communities are a lifeblood. And we need to have business to support the people that come here to visit. And that all ties back into economic development. Thank you.
Mr. Maker.
Yes, I'm all for tourism, and especially with all the publicity for the movie, and But, you know, our people, we've been in the news forever. It's not new, just because they made a movie, we've been in the news, since we first came to Oklahoma. And I will say this about what we're doing now, we're doing all we can with our resources. There's a lot of wonderful things we would love to do if we could afford it. We have to work within our budget, our projected revenue. And if we could work something in there for tourism, I'm all for it. But, yeah, I just think that, we just have to stay within our means, and, we're still a young nation. We've not even been 20 years yet. We're still very young. We've done a lot in the years I've been on Congress. We've done a lot of great things. And, yeah, tourism right now is in the news, it's real popular, so, yeah, I'm for it, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pratt?
Thank you. With a comprehensive plan, I would discuss a tourism department, and I know that there's been an effort like that before, and I will say, because this is all, you know, part of the record, that I have voted no to a tourism person before. There was a bill that came before us, but it had one salary and benefits, and that was it. So then, as a congressperson, you ask those questions. What is this person going to do? Well, we don't know yet. Well, where is this person going to go? We don't know yet. Well, then I can't in good faith fund this without a plan, right? And so then, but when we say no to things on Congress, that doesn't mean you don't support them, right? And sometimes that gets misconstrued as to you just don't support it. But you can't walk away and say, well, they don't support it. That's not true. We just don't support it without a comprehensive plan. And so I think that's should be a priority. Tourism is the third economic driver in the state of Oklahoma. Should we be capitalizing on that as a nation? Yes. I believe the Congress had someone come in and speak to us, a committee, had a committee meeting and had someone come in to speak who was going to plan in doing that and wanting to capitalize on the fact that, you know, the movie was coming out and there would be folks coming in, and that just didn't happen beyond, but that's not specifically for the Congress to execute. So the execution takes place elsewhere, but would I be open to funding it? Yes, and the growth of however the Welcome Center plays into that, or whatever department they want to, but come with a plan to the Congress, and that's how things should work. Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
Thank you for the question. I would definitely be in support of a tourism department. Like Ms. Pratt said, it's the third highest revenue for Oklahoma, and I believe that we need to be in support of that. I think Pawhuska District has a lot of people who come to see many things that we have in that area, and I think that tourism department can help push those people out to our other districts that might not have as much of that traffic as Pawhuska does, and I think that'll be important for their economies as well. Thank you.
Okay, and we have 1 minute for rebuttal. Ms. Phillips.
I stand with, I believe tourism is part of economic development and should be under the Department of Commerce and should be in coordination clearly with the executive branch, but also legislation. We don't have a good economic plan for the outcome of Osage Reservation. Tourism is a component of that. There are things that currently go on in Congress right now supporting visitor centers. There's currently one in Fairfax up for, that has been discussed, and I believe that should be funded. I believe that Fairfax deserves a visitor center. It supports economic development within that community. Thank you.
Mr. Metcalf.
I have no rebuttal.
Mr. Maker.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things we need for the other communities on the reservation. My town of Hominy being one. I've been trying to get something going for some kind of monument or something for the famous Hominy Indian professional football team. Beat the New York Giants, and I can't get anything going. I can't get any help on that. So it's just one thing that tourism would bring to some of the other communities, and not just Pawhuska. Thank you.
Ms. Pratt? Thank you. Ms. Martin?
I have no rebuttal, thank you.
We're going to move on to our final 1-minute candidate statements, and we're going to start with you, Mr. Metcalf.
In closing, I would like to say that I'm Osage. I'm proud to be Osage. Everything I have and all the opportunities that I've been afforded have happened because I'm Osage, and I'm very thankful for that, and I'm very grateful for my people and the opportunities that our forefathers provided for us to move with and create our own opportunities for the future. And I think that I would really like to be a part of that. So I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
I think right now many of our challenges are ahead of us. And the message I would like to bring is for us, when we face the future, whatever, we don't know what the future holds for us. But the only way we can conquer it is we got to work together as a nation. All through the history of our people, we've always been strong when we work together. We were one of the most powerful tribes in North America at one time. So we got to go back to our old ways and protect all of our people and face the future together, whatever it is, we got to face it together. And another word I'd like to say, we've got to educate our young people, the ones who say 10 years from now, they're going to be in all these seats, chief, assistant chief, judges, Congress, minerals. We got to educate our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pratt?
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your time, and I just wanted to say that I am asking for your vote for a seat on the Congress because there is still a lot of work to do. I'm an effective communicator, I'm a fierce advocate, and I'm a proven leader. And I'm not the greatest politician because I'm very direct in what I say, but I'm respectful in how I do it. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or be disrespectful at any time. I just speak from my heart on behalf of you, my people. So I'm not a great politician, but I am a true leader, and I ask for your support. Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
Thank you. To go off what Mr. Maker was saying, I believe it is very, very important that we start investing in our youth. That is the main reason why I'm standing up here today. If I do anything today, I hope to cast a stone across the pond and create ripples for our youth to be encouraged and aware that this space has been created for them, and that eventually they will have to take that torch, and they will have to be that trailblazer, and they will have to help lead us forward. And so I hope we continue to consider the 7 generations before us as well as the 7 generations ahead of us. And I hope to be the hands, the feet, and the heart of these purposes that we're looking to accomplish to help our people further their well-being and not only survive anymore, but thrive. Thank you.
Ms. Phillips?
I want to thank everyone for being here, as well as all the great questions. I love having the variety of questions this year. It seems that people really took a lot of time to draft good, solid questions, and I appreciate that. I bring a unique set of experiences, both life and business, to the table. Unlike a lot of my candidates here, I've owned my own business for the last 21 years and spent 10 years prior to that in the corporate world. And so I have a solid knowledge of the business world, the environmental world, and technology that I bring to the table, and I know how to collaborate and get things done. And I humbly ask for your vote.
Thank you. Can everybody give a round of applause for this? we'll take we'll take about a 5-10 minute break.
Yeah. You're gonna go spend a free one. Go to Sonic. Yeah. I know. Yeah, I saw you coming down those stairs. I go, that thing is like, oh, I know, it's straight up and down. Yeah, it's straight up and down in those cellars. No way I can. Just over it. Yeah. As long as you say okay, I'm like. I'm waiting on his final report, but he said, what do you read? Are we live?
Yep.
Still?
Yeah.
Can I say something to Can I say something to the people?
I mean,
No, I'm just kidding.
You gotta get them. I don't know how glad you can be. I didn't do it. And I didn't want to do it. Well, I had a speech, and they used to bypass that part. They were doing the bill, and I was like, where do I get this off?
I had to say something. I had to. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a good story. Well, I didn't do it.
Yeah, this person was Yeah, I like Italian. Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Tomato with spicy stuff, too much for you. I'm sticking with yeah, I like that white sauce. Yeah. Last thing I said. Last thing. Prepare the next
I remember him. Was there 5 brothers? Yeah. 5 brothers. 3 with the mother. And all of those became 3. And then they took them from that city when I graduated and put it in. Oh my gosh, I remember that. All those different big old boxes and shit everybody. And I was studying. You shouldn't have done it when you were five. Yeah. He says that if people yeah, they're the ones that got it. Yeah, that's what he said.
Look at him making some accounting. He's still shooting. Yeah. You come to that here guy. The other guy
Okay, we're gonna start in about 5 minutes. If I could control the lights, you know, I'd flick them on and off.
Are they going to do this right after this?
I'm ready for a big fight.
I know, I was trying to get it up.
Hey, you don't stop no more. Get him together. Come on. We don't know what we're busting in. You gotta be better. I'll just you're doing great. Yeah. Purple eyebrow. Yeah. Purple eyebrow. That's the only thing I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna call our candidates up to the podium here. In our final group for today's congressional debate. Crystal Fulkerson, Billy Keene, William Kimball, and Pam Shaw. Okay. We're going to give each candidate 2 minutes for their opening statement, and we're going to start with Mr. Billy Keene.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming. I woke up today and thank God. I'm glad to be in this moment with you guys. I want to send thoughts and prayers out to our mourners out there. I want to talk a little bit about my legal background. I've been humbled and grateful to serve for the past 4 years. I'm currently a practicing attorney and also a Congress member. I think this skill set is vital to Congress. I've also worked in gaming. I have over 5 years in gaming. This is important because gaming funds probably over 80% of our government. I have experience in operations in both and gaming management. There's a few pieces of legislation that I was very proud of that I sponsored. With our gaming, we went through a storm and we came out stronger. I was happy to sponsor legislation that allowed our gaming board to have their own attorney. This took a lot of work, and we consulted with the operations, the commission, and the gaming board. It was a much needed fix, and we have more work to do. Something else I'm sponsored of, I sponsored paid maternity leave. This allowed our new mothers to get 12 weeks of paid leave, and also our new Osage fathers 8 weeks of paid leave. This is even more important because in our Osage Constitution, that family and culture is emphasized. It's an express right. These are just a few pieces of legislation I'm proud of. I want to be frank, it hasn't been sunshine and rainbows. One of my biggest regrets was we should have expanded housing with our ARPA funds. We did good with our elder housing, but we could have done a lot more. We could have built 60 to 75 homes. As it is now, when Osage goes to school and they come back, they can't even find a place to live in Osage County. It's hard to get financing. We must do better. Another regret I have is we weren't very good at communication. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Keene. Ms. Shaw.
Thank you so much. There we go. I should be used to this because we have that vetting system going on in Congress. So good afternoon, and thank you so much to the Osage News Editorial Board and the Osage News for bringing us to this debate. extremely excited to be here and so happy to be able to serve for the past almost 4 years as a member of the Osage Nation Congress. Sometimes, when I look around the room, and Congressman Tillman, I always have to tell this story, so I'm sorry. My very first session going back almost 4 years ago, I was so nervous. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to do this. What's it? He said, walked in the room, he said, did you bring your boxing gloves? And I, just kind of smiled and thought it, and I was like, why? So I started thinking, and why am I going to need boxing gloves? I mean, this is Congress. It's a very structured, serious environment, right? So let me just say, almost 4 years later, I understand that comment. and I got some bigger boxing gloves. It's all good. So listen, it's been an honor to serve the Osage people. I can't even explain to you. Sometimes I just kind of pinch myself to be able to do this. Most of you know that I am Pam Shaw from the Gray Horse District. I have 17 years in the corporate world, 15 years in gaming up to executive management. So like my colleague here said, that's extremely important. Actually, I believe that our casinos provide about 90% of our tribal funding, so it is extremely important. I'm proud of all of our gaming employees and all the employees that we have at the nation. We have some really good ones. Sorry, sometimes I forget to breathe. So proud to be here, proud to be able to serve. It's important. What we do is important. We do a really, really good job at many things.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw. Ms. Fulkerson.
Hello, my name is Krista Unat Fulkerson. I was born and raised within the Osage culture. I am Deer Clan and my home is the Zonzole district. My family are the Penn-Morel Osage family from Hominy and Gray Horse. I see a lot of them here today. I see the Makers, I see the Whitehorns. I see my dad sitting there, my cousin Erica. Thank you all for being here today. I have a master's degree in business administration and I hold a specialized certificate in tribal finance and accounting from OSU. I'm a mother of 3 Osage children who have been raised in the Osage culture and are active in our ceremonial dances. I've been married for almost 20 years to my husband, Aaron Fulkerson, who couldn't be here today. He's a partner and owner at Schmucky Trumbo Frank in Tulsa. I currently hold an executive level position at the Innovation Foundation at the Oklahoma State University. And before that, I was a grants and fiscal compliance officer at the Osage Nation. I see many people I know in this crowd, but for those who don't know me, you may be asking yourselves, why vote for me? I'm a hard worker, I get things done, and I'm experienced. And I have supported many departments and teams within Osage Nation, within the tribe, and I'm giving them the information and the tools they need to bring much needed services and economic development within our nation. Thank you for your time.
Mr. William Kempin.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to the Osage News and the moderators here for holding this forum, as well as the Osage Casinos. Very humbled to be here today. Again, my name is Will Kimball. I reside in Skytuke, Oklahoma. I'm born and raised in Hominy, Oklahoma, Osage country. First thing that I would want anyone to really know about me, other than my name, is I'm a person of faith, and I try to live by it. And I try to talk about it everywhere I go. I'm a family man. I'm very proud to say that I have the title, position, servitude of a husband and being a father. And just due to kind of our cultural environment, I've also learned that I'm starting to be called uncle by folks other than my own nieces and nephews. So I'm sure a lot of folks here in the crowd here will understand what that is. With that, I am a cultural participant, and that's really all I want to say about that. I don't want to campaign off of that. I do want to say with this reform government back in 2006, there's been some members up here that said that they benefited from that, the tribe has helped them get through school. I was just right before that. I was just right before I be able to got that help. But through my mother, Linda Lizelle, my father, Jim Kimball Sr., they raised me to be in a cultural environment. I've only known it my whole life. But through that, it's helped me get through college. I have my bachelor's from OSU in business administration, my master's in accountancy. My work experience has been 15 plus years in public accounting as a financial statement auditor. I'm used to getting into the details. I not only like it, I love it. Figuring it out, the hard work to be able to provide the answers. With that, my home is Osage. My family is Osage. My future is Osage. I'm just glad to be here. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Okay, we'll begin with our first question. Okay, we'll start with you, Mr. King. How would you, as a member of Congress, assist the chief on navigating the tobacco and gaming compact negotiations with the state of Oklahoma?
Thank you for the question. We must stand firm. Recently, we've had a reservation setback, but right now we're, trying to strategize how we can get that back before the courts. But a lot of these other tribes, they've kind of ceded the post-McGirt world where they're saying, well, we're just going to go back to those pockets of trust land and we'll kind of concede the governor's debt. I don't think the Osage Nation needs to do that. We need to stand firm. The other tribes are going with 50-50 splits. Even the Cherokee Nation, the Choctaw Nation doesn't even operate their own tag offices anymore. They've ceded that sovereignty. They're just said it's just easier to go through the state. Again, I'm defiantly against that. We need to stand firm and keep trying to maybe work out a 60-40 split or something of that nature. Because a wise man once said to be sovereign, you have to act sovereign. And that's what we need to do, navigating these waters ahead. Thank you.
Ms. Shaw.
Thank you so much. Listen, to be sovereign, you have to act sovereign. That is absolutely the case, especially with the climate in the state of Oklahoma right now. I think one of the things that has helped me grow as a congressperson and something that I'm very good at is that I stay involved, keep my ear to the ground, pay attention, go to meetings, go to the Capitol, involved in groups, including the OITA, the Intertribal Tax Association, where this absolutely is a topic each time. So I think that to help the chief navigate this particular issue, we do have to stand strong. We do have to give him whatever he needs from us, whether it be funds, whether it be additional money for attorneys for this fight. Yes, we do have to support it and we do have to stand our ground. We do have to act sovereign. Thank you.
Ms. Fulkerson.
Yes, I would like to talk about how this position in Congress, what is their job in navigating these compacts? I would say that sovereignty and supporting our office of the chiefs, that's very important in order for us to act when we're on Congress. I want to talk about how our compacts and our sovereignty really are hand in hand here. The 50-50 match that's happened across Indian country doesn't fit our people here. And it's important for us to be knowledgeable and to do our due diligence in giving information out as a tribe and being able to support our Office of the Chiefs when he needs it. I've worked with the Office of the Chiefs for many years. I have a great relationship with them, as is with other boards and sub-boards and entities within Osage Nation, and I'm happy to support whatever they need.
Mr. Kimball.
That's a good question. When I look around Indian country, which is Oklahoma, to say that you're an Osage person, it comes with a sense of pride, it comes with a sense of standing. I do believe that with our neighboring organizations, neighboring governments, every effort should be made till they get exhausted. But at the end of the day, just as Brother Billy over there mentioned, we do have to act sovereign. We do have to push the envelope of what the limitations of what sovereign is, if there is. To have that compact, to have the arrangement, I think we need to stand firm and we need to stay strong and we need to find out what our limitations are. And with being Osage, we're the ones that's going to hold ourselves back. I do believe that. We have great people, we have smart people, we have forthright and assertive people. It's a matter of getting the right people here, getting the right people to provide laws or resolutions or feedback or somebody to sit at that table, as many times I've had to do in my lifetime, and make the conversation very, very upfront. So that would be my position on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have 1 minute for rebuttal. Mr. King.
Well, you gotta remember I'm a lawyer, so a technical rebuttal or just can I add on to what I? I just want to say that it's important that we have allies in the state legislature because there's going to be more Kevin Stitts in the future. And you know that adage, it takes a village, but we need allies at that level as well. I just want to add that. Thank you.
Ms. Shaw.
Thank you. This isn't necessarily a rebuttal, just kind of an observation. I remember back in the days when, you know, especially with the gaming compacts and all of the different compacts we have, but some folks kind of felt like, and still do sometimes, that compacts with the state are actually opposed to acting sovereign. So I just think it's interesting that we're thinking about or talking about both of those things at the same time. It is going to be a difficult task for us to get the 60-40, anything more than the 50-50 that some of these tribes are willing to settle for. But I don't think it's impossible. So wasn't really a rebuttal, just an observation that I thought was interesting. Thank you.
Ms. Fulkerson.
Yes, I believe it's very important to define negotiation priorities when we're talking about our compacts. We need to develop a communication plan. So in order to be able to defend what is going on within our state government and how we're going to negotiate that going forward. Thank you.
Mr. Kimball.
I don't have a rebuttal.
We will move on to our second question. Okay, Ms. Shaw, this is for you, or we'll start with you. Many people want to come back to the Osage to live and or work. If elected, what do you plan to do about the housing crisis on the Osage Reservation?
Thank you very much. That is a question, is something that we talk about often in Congress. I think someone here in one of the earlier groups talked about sort of having regret that we didn't take some of that ARPA money and put it towards housing, because it's a big deal, not just for us, but for many tribes or communities, even little Fairfax where I live. I mean, we all have the struggles and limitations, need more housing, affordable housing. Our folks aren't able to find it. I think one of the things that we need to do, and of course, listen, one of the things I'm really proud of is our grants department at the nation. They do a really, really good job. Krista is very familiar with our grants department at the nation, but they do a great job. And are there additional grants that can help us solve this problem partially? I think one of the best ways is to look at other communities, other tribes. We don't have to always recreate the wheel. We're sovereign. We can do what we want to do and what works best for us, but look at what some tribes who have already attacked this problem, at different levels, what they did and how it worked for them. Thank you.
Ms. Fulkerson.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for that compliment. When I went to work for the Osage tribe, we revamp their grants management style, their whole plan. And when I was there, I learned much about housing, worked with housing, and there are lots of things we can expand on in our housing plan with HUD that we don't take advantage of. There's a lot of money left on the table, and I will be happy to support anything that the Office of the Chief sends forward in order to make it a better housing situation within our boundaries. It's essential for us to have housing because right now we're the biggest county in Oklahoma right now. We're gonna invest in a bunch of internet infrastructure. It's very important for us to have housing because we're gonna grow our economic development incubator right here where we live. It's just a new world out there and housing is a must. So I would support housing on Congress. I've supported housing as the compliance and grants management expert over at Osage Nation. And I think, yes, this housing crisis has got to go and it can go. There are solutions for it. Thank you.
Mr. Kimball.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. Many people want to come back to the Osage to live and or work. If elected, what do you plan to do about the housing crisis on the Osage Reservation?
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. Please come back. That's what we want. We want everybody to be around our Osage environment, be included in our Osage culture. We want to see our folks. For them to come back to have a place to live, you're going to have to give them a living. So focusing dollars on economic development in more areas just than the three, I guess you might say, cultural districts. There's Skytooth, there's Barnsdall, there's land that is available even in my hometown of Skytooth, Oklahoma. We have to explore our options and get our name in more places than just a few towns. Once we're able to do that and be able to provide a living, then I really do think that we can start to find homes for our folks to come back. And personally, that's what I would like to see. Our folks come back home, we can see them, we can regroup with one another again, and we can learn from them what they learned out there. They can learn from here what we have here. So I encourage that kind of goal, that kind of mission. But yes, improving on our current homes here in Osage country, I think is also something that needs to be done and addressed and focused in on. So with that, yes, providing economic development to give them a living, to come back home. I think that's the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dean.
Yeah, so to kind of echo Krista's point, we have to stretch every federal dollar there is. A lot of this housing problem is a math problem. So we got to search out HUD funds. We have to use tribal dollars, and like what Will said, that takes economic development. Right now, we're trying to get in a gaming facility in Missouri. As Pam said, gaming's about 90% of our revenue. If the Fed funds give us an allocation that's a set number, we need tribal dollars to offset. So we need to make more money as a tribe with economic development. And one last thing, like I said, the feds are confined to elder and low income, which is great, but a lot of our Osages who are middle class need help too. So again, we got to maximize the grant funding and also inspire economic development to get more tribal dollars pumped into housing. Thank you.
Great, we'll have 1 minute of rebuttal time and we'll begin with you, Ms. Shaw.
Thank you very much. So one of the things that I want, we've talked a lot about economic development today. That is necessary, no doubt about it. When I first ran 4 years ago, that was my battle cry. What are our businesses doing? Why haven't we progressed at the same speed and level that some of these other really successful tribes have? That's the question. That was first and foremost for me as far as economic development. Why can't we do it? Why haven't we done it? But listen, here's one thing that I want to make sure everyone understands. Congress can put structures in place. Congress can support. Congress can appropriate money. Much of the economic development, because one of the previous groups did talk about executive did bring to us a request for money for Department of Commerce and Department of Tourism. And it is correct, that it wasn't, a fully developed plan didn't come along with us, so we didn't know what that meant at the time. But I think it's a good idea, but keep in mind that.
Thank you. Ms. Fulkerson. Yes, so this housing crisis, yes, there's grants out there that we can support that with, but what we really need to do is, I'm all support of the economic development department. Whenever I was at Osage Nation, a lot of things were kind of incubated out into businesses between the grants office, my office, and Candy Thomas, who is over the strategic and governance, self-governance office. And then we'd roll them out into entities and under the LLC. That's really not the way to do it. And so what I would do is if the Office of the Chiefs will come up with a good plan, I'm happy to support it if it's sound and if it's been vetted correctly, because that's how I make decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kimball.
Brother Billy kind of mentioned something that it's kind of a mathematical problem. I'm not rebutting it, just wanted to comment on that, which doesn't sound like a rebuttal. Again, I go back to being an auditor. If it is mathematical, that's something I'm willing to dive into to find out where the mathematical errors, misleading calculations are at. But I do think, under the spirit of an Osage word that I've lived by my whole lifetime, Washkana, which means to do your very best, give every effort. That's what I'm running for, is because I do believe that there has been missed opportunities in economic development and housing opportunities. And that's what I'm willing to address.
Thank you. Mr. King, you get, we made a clock error in your first answer, so we're giving you 2 minutes that is for additional comments and rebuttal.
I'll be short. I think we can also think outside the box. We can always build up as well, multi-purpose condo units, stuff like that. I've seen some tribes down in southern Oklahoma, which is great. Single lot homes are good, but again, we can also try to get creative there. So that's all I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will move on to our third question. Ms. Fulkerson, we begin with you. How will you balance the needs of different demographics within the tribe? Elders, youth, families, etc.
That's a pretty broad question. What is the specifics of that question? How would I balance them?
Yeah, how would you balance the needs of these different demographics within the tribe? Needs for elders, needs for youth, needs for families within the confines of Congress. I think that's what this question is getting at.
Thank you. Well, I'm used to juggling a lot of balls in my industry that I'm working in grants management, finance, compliance, budgeting. I think that I have learned through my experience out in the world and within our reservation to be able to focus not just on one thing, focusing on a lot of things. That's how I work. That's what I do. The priority list is our elders, but we have lots of those. So I believe that I'm able to, as a congressperson, be able to touch on all those things. There's lots of days that go by that we can handle this. We have the talent, we have the people with the education, the skills, and the experience to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kimball.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, I can, sir. How would you balance the needs of different demographics within the tribe? For example, elders, youth, families, etc.
Well, for years privately and through social media and just talking with relatives over the years, I've been pretty vocal, fairly vocal, of getting a consensus. Where are our folks? What are those demographics? Where are they at? And what are their needs in their areas? Figuring that out first, I think, is a basic necessity to figure that out. I'm glad we've started doing that, recently within the past couple of years. But other than that, focusing on every one of them's health. I don't want to leave anybody with unfairness, leave anybody behind that is struggling. So for their general welfare needs, I want to focus on that to get them to a place where they can fight for their own living. They can strive for their own living. But as well as our elders, they're all precious. They're all precious to us. Their health, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, caring for them, because they are our memory. They are going to be able to tell us where we've been to know and to guide us on where we need to go. So with that, finding out where the demographics at, where your needs are at, whether it's general welfare related or trying to improve yourself to where you have a good chance to represent Osage in the most strongest way possible. Thank you.
Mr. Key.
To follow Will's statement, our most vulnerable first, which would be our elders and our children. Handicap, veterans, I think that would be who we would look to help first. And like Krista said, I think this is kind of a gotcha question. I'd also like to say those Osages that don't like grape dumplings, you'd be left out. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. But yeah, like I said, it's important to protect our vulnerable population. And like Will said, we want you Osages happy, healthy, and whole. So thank you.
Ms. Shaw.
Thank you so much. So I think that we do have some tools available to us: the Constitution, strategic plan, the census, which we should hear the results of later this month. I'm very excited to see what this review of our households. The unfortunate part is it doesn't include every single Osage household in our nation, because sometimes participation, even voting, isn't what we want it to be. But I think it's going to give us a really good look into where to start. Most vulnerable, children and elders, of course. That's what our Constitution says. The well-being of all of us, that's absolutely needed as well. I'm really concerned about the education of our youth, of course, but I want to talk a little bit further about the educational needs of, some that aren't college bound, some that have, learning challenges. What are we doing for them? So there's so many places and so many things to do. We have so many unmet needs. It's almost, sometimes it's seemingly insurmountable. But we do have some tools available to us to help us decide where to go first.
Okay, now each candidate will have a 1 minute rebuttal time, and we'll begin with you, Ms. Fulkerson.
Thank you. Well, I will just say that it's very important to know how this government works. And in saying that, when we talk about our priorities and how we can juggle all of this, all of our demographic people, we don't want anyone to be left out, obviously. So for me, it's very important that our sovereignty is strong, that our nation is strong, so we can carry these burdens. It's important for our nation and our people to be able to touch on all of these issues that face all of us, because we are a one people. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kimball.
I don't have a rebuttal.
Mr. King.
No rebuttal, thank you.
Ms. Shaw.
Stop me if you have to. I just wanted to finish my thought from the previous question. Because, I kind of didn't finish, but what I wanted our members, all the members, to know is that, yes, it has to be cooperation between both the executive branch and the legislative branch, but most of the execution of, and this is something I had to learn myself because it's something that was very important to me when I first got into Congress, but most of the execution is on the executive side, and we do everything we can to support and provide what's needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to our final question. Just hoping I can work in a bingo hall. That's my next career move. Okay, so we'll start with you, Mr. Kimball. What actions do you believe need to be taken and will have the most impact on protecting tribal sovereignty?
More laws that have some kind of synergy and interaction with our neighboring governments, local governments, county governments, even other tribal governments. We're part of an ancient Davy-Haw tribe where we're surrounded by our other tribesmen that's part of that. Even having some kind of synergy with them is overall an exercise of tribal sovereignty. Funding our own folks, advocating for our own folks, criminally and civilly, standing behind our own folks and standing up for their, I believe there's kind of like a Bill of Rights that's in the Constitution, introducing laws that protect those rights. Earlier was mentioned about LGBTQ, treat them as humans. They've got human rights just the same as everyone else. You know, we can disagree with that kind of stuff, but they still have rights themselves. No matter what kind of walk of life that you come from, we all have to stick up for one another. Introducing laws and reinforcing those laws that protect our sovereignty, say, that's our folks, they need to come over here, or that happened on our land, they need to come over here. Really taking a stance on that to uphold it. I think that's the way to approach it, that's the way to look, that's the effort to all stand behind, get behind. So with that, I think that would be my position. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. King.
Yeah, so this hints on something I was going to emphasize later. We currently don't have any water code in the Osage Nation. I apologize for that. That's a failure on Congress's part. We passed a good ag bill. We need comprehensive water law, food with the Butcher House, food sovereignty, as Will suggested. We need to keep expanding our criminal code. We did a few years ago, and you know, we can always tweak it. We can always make it better, expand our civil codes. Because like Jackie said earlier, when she was up here, the federal government might not always have our backs. So when it goes from the feds back to us, we got to have strong tribal laws. If we don't have that, we can't find courts to enforce that. So we have to be extremely strong in all areas. But my focus mainly is the water and the food, because without that, that sustains us as human beings and keeps us safe. So we have a lot of work to do, and I think we need to hit the ground running, and I think I'll provide a good skill set to do that. So thank you.
Ms. Shaw.
Thank you very much. Good question. Sovereignty again. That's a good thing to talk about. You know, sometimes I was talking to my younger son. Sorry, when I tell stories, then I start running out of time. So maybe I better not tell a story. But anyway, much younger than I, of course, because he's my son. And we had this discussion about sovereignty. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? We have the textbook definition. We have a personal definition. Sovereignty is important to understand. And because of the challenges that we have, especially in our state right now, the attacks on our sovereignty every single day. Yes, I think it's important for us to synergize with other tribes. There's a group called United for Oklahoma. When we've gone through these compact battles, they're extremely powerful. I went to the state capitol on the day that the House or Senate, I can't remember which one, Billy, but overrode the governor on the extension of tobacco compact. So I'm sitting there in the chambers, kind of how it is above there, and I watched this whole group of tribal leaders, the big guys, the big guys, Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, the ones that everyone considers to be so powerful, walk in at the same time in the chambers, and all of the folks down on the floor, the Congress people, looked up and looked scared to death. It was powerful. It was something to see. So remembering that, yes, when we work together, not only internally, but also externally with other tribes, we are powerful. It means something to be Osage, and we need to remember that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fulkerson.
I would like to kind of piggyback off that a bit. I think there is a multifaceted approach that emphasizes our legal authority, our economic independence, cultural preservation, and political autonomy. What's very important for us is to understand that we're not in it alone. We have to do some political advocacy, not just within other tribes, but within other agencies that we know want to support us. Sometimes we can like be our worst enemy in that way. We can try to go it alone and we don't have to. We must, when we talk about sovereignty, of course, we need to protect our sovereignty. We need to take on our own responsibilities. That means we have to, unfortunately, invest in our own infrastructure and our own organizational capacity. Our nation has to be strong in order for it to help us as a people. We also, together as a tribe, we need to unite together. That's going to be very important for our sovereignty. Fighting amongst ourselves is not going to solve any problems. We have to unite. We all have different perspectives and experiences that we bring to the table, but that's a good thing. We need those within our government. We need to create, again, economic development and update our codes. They're outdated. And our criminal code needs to be looked at. And it has been looked at from the Office of the Chiefs. I've been in those meetings before. They are trying to be proactive on all of the comings and goings going on at the state level. And it's very important for us to support them. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll begin now with a 1 minute rebuttal. Mr. Kimball.
Yeah, I just want to mention something. Once again, it's going to sound like rebuttal. I don't think that it is. Krista mentioned, to be united in the approach to find the limitations, if any exist, of sovereignty. Lots of times I find myself in a table like sitting right over here and I'm talking with different people, and lots of times we'll have a different way of looking at things. Saying it different ways, having different opinions. I think being part of that, you're going to find that you are surrounded by people that's going to help you learn things. So not always being in a new united, let's all think the same way around one table is always going to get you there. The sovereignty, we're all going to have differences. We're all going to have our own different perspectives of what sovereignty is, but having that conversation is going to help us find it. We're going to help us find out where the sovereignty is for our children. Thank you.
Mr. King.
Right now, there's a wind farm who isn't moving. They're trying to wait us out. We're not going to allow that to happen. That's also an aspect of sovereignty. We're going to fund the Minerals Council in that fine. There's a federal judge order, and they think we're just going to wait and not let that happen. So this is being defiantly sovereign, and that also adds into that big, broader picture of our strong laws as well. So thank you.
Ms. Shaw.
Thank you. I want you to remember when you drive past our casinos, our 7 casinos, when you drive past casinos that are owned by other tribal nations, that is one of the biggest and most prolific and most successful acts of our sovereignty that there can be. And I know that folks are like, well, the casinos won't last forever and all those things, but you know what? Those casinos have provided for us and other tribal nations in a way that is extremely important. That is exercising our sovereignty. IGRA, 1988, enacted by the federal government. Yay, they gave us permission to game. No, they didn't. We already had that sovereign right. So keep that in mind when you're driving past those casinos. That is sovereignty.
Ms. Wilkerson.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yes, ma'am. What actions do you believe need to be taken and will have the most impact on protecting tribal sovereignty?
I think we've really touched a lot of that today when we talk about our economic development and being able to assert our jurisdiction. I believe that, like I said before, we have to have partnerships and we have to create relationships on the state level, on the local level, on the federal level in order to get this job done. leveraging our new technology base that we are going to be building out here within our reservation brings about economic development and will bring people to us. So we will be able to create housing and create all these infrastructures that we need in order to be able to be sovereign. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go, there is one more question in the hopper here, and so I am going to ask it. Okay. Okay, so I'll start with you, Mr. King. What do you think are the most pressing issues facing the Osage Nation, and how will you address them?
I think our reservation case is the most pressing now. Obviously, we're disappointed, so we got to find a way to eventually win that. But another thing too is we have a governor who's bigoted and ignorant about Indian affairs. There's going to be probably sports betting come up. We'll have gaming compacts eventually come. We're having a big tobacco compact as well. So I think engaging in that fight is also extremely important. And one other thing is, as our population gets bigger, sustaining our big three funding is also obviously very important. So as long as we keep economic development, we need to keep finding ways to make money outside of gaming, because those Osages everywhere, we need to keep those levels sustainable for them as well. So thank you.
Ms. Shaw.
Thank you. I think it would almost be impossible to say that one of those items he mentioned that we mentioned today are more pressing or more important than the other. We have so many issues that we deal with every single day that have to be addressed. Yes, the core is that we have limited resources that have provided for us very well. How do we take us up to the next level? How are we going to be able to provide more services to protect our mineral estate, protect our folks, to educate our children, all of our children? How are we going to be able to do all of those things if we don't focus on economic development, right? So it's important. It's important. Proud of what we have, the money that's been provided to us, but we're almost to a point of where if we do not focus on more, focus on leveling up this government, leveling up our businesses, leveling up our Congress, we're kind of at the tip top of what we can do as far as tribal funds. So I think there are so many important issues, every single one of them equally as pressing.
Thank you. Ms. Fulkerson.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yes, ma'am. What do you think are the most pressing issues facing the Osage Nation, and how will you address them?
Well, we must assert our jurisdiction. Obviously, that's the main thing. But we also should prioritize our financial standing. And with that, we've had lots of issues within our Treasury Department. I have been through, I was working at Osage Nation whenever I was faced with that breakdown when I came on. And so I rolled my sleeves up and tried to help build it back. And I did. There was a lot of successes in that, but we need to watch how we spend our money. We need to have someone on Congress who knows how to read a financial statement correctly. And it's very important for us to be able to support one another instead of playing the gotcha game all the time. That doesn't do anyone any good. I think whenever I took over the compliance, I told people in the departments and all over, we are going to do compliance we're going to start from scratch. We're going to be a compliance of quality assurance. Okay, we're not playing the gotcha game anymore. There's been many departments that had years of no training. And so we have to invest in our people. So sovereignty, we need to take care of our own problems within our own tribe in order to be able to move the needle forward. Thank you.
Mr. Kimball.
Can you repeat that question one time, please?
Yes, sir. What do you think are the most pressing issues facing the Osage Nation, and how will you address them?
I think under the spirit of sovereignty and just growing up around Osage people and Osage country my whole life, I really do see it that we are our own issue. We are our own weakness, and our weakness is only as bad as we can make it. I think there's a lot of intelligent, a lot of strong-hearted people, a lot of very enthusiastic Osage people that are strengths, that we're not harnessing that. Our weaknesses where we allow waste or abuse or spending time just squabbling with ourselves, I think that needs to be rectified. And a lot of times, and this is one of the many reasons why I'm trying to run, is who's going to do that work? Who's going to do that work? So for 15 plus years in my auditing experience, public accounting, it's digging into the details, digging into the calculations. Go ahead and get that part done so we can look at our elders sitting in this room and they can say, well, now we have options. We've assessed where our weaknesses are at. I really do believe that our limitations are set by ourselves. But as well, to piggyback off of Brother Billy down there, having a stronghold on our land base, having a stronghold on where we are at. I don't want the name of Osage Nation to be fading off into any distance or getting further away from being at the table. I think that we need to be there. We need to be there often. We need to not be forgotten about. So with that, I really do believe that throughout all of that, we need to harness the strength in our own people, our own resources, having food sovereignty, water sovereignty, all of it. I think that we have everything set before us to where we're not talking about the greatest issues. We're talking about our opportunities. And with that would be my position. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have 1 minute for rebuttal. Mr. King.
Yeah, to add on, it's kind of a boring, nuanced answer, but we gotta see these ARPA projects through. We have a funeral home, PRT facility, the new clinic. Like was mentioned earlier, the butcher house. In 26, that comes back on us. Right now, all that money just feeds back into the program. So we gotta be, sustain these businesses and make them profitable. We will have failed as Congress if we get to 26 and we still have money sitting in the treasury that hasn't gone to being spent. And we're not offering these services that Congress as a body had promised. So that is vitally important. So we need to kind of own that obligation we have and see it through. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Shaw.
Thank you. No rebuttal.
Ms. Fulkerson.
I just wanted to follow up with, when we talk about asserting our jurisdiction and our compact agreements, those are all very vital to what we are talking about up here today. Finding ways for revenue generation outside of gaming, I believe is going to be something that we need to address on Congress immediately. I think it's important as a congressperson to be able to reach through all governments inside of our government in order to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kimball.
I got one thing to say. It's going to sound like I'm rebutting myself. But everything that I just mentioned makes it sound like implies that I'm picking on the executive branch. I'm not. I pray for our chief. I pray for his staff and all the executive branch and for all of them to go out and do well to their full potential. But as Brother Billy mentioned, even our ARPA funds, if they're not fully expended, why aren't they fully expended? Where's the reporting that's on that? I don't mean to really advocate for myself, but getting into that, where is it? What is the status of that? If I've got to take a step off of the legislative podium to go there to the executive branch and figure out how to go through some general ledger detail, I'm willing to do that as long as we get it figured out. It's kind of hard to figure out where you're going if you don't know where you're at, especially financially. So getting our financial position in order, I think is also one of those things that might be just setting us back to where we don't know whether to take that step forward. So that's another way.
Thank you. Okay, now each candidate has 1 minute for a closing statement, and I'm going to start with you, Ms. Shaw.
Thank you. So 1 minute is not a lot of time, but listen, here's the deal. We have talked about a lot of really, really important and tough subjects today. These are subjects that we face in the legislative body every single day. We have to be able to work together, work with the other branches. We have to have people. I started to say, you know what? I'm not going to vote for anyone who can't get along with people. That's important. I can get along with people. I love people. I love the Osage Nation. I just want us to succeed even more than we have now. You have to have folks who care intensely about what happens to you and you and you and you and all of us, and I do. Please give me a chance to have 4 more years. This 4 years was, we had ARPA, we had CARES, we started right off with COVID. So I don't feel like I've been able to do some of the things I know that I wanted to do.
Thank you. Ms. Fulkerson.
Thank you. I believe that, well, first of all, I want to pledge and that I am going to listen and lead with integrity at the Osage Nation Congress. I'm going to strive to support this strategic plan and create thriving relationships within our government. I already have relationships with our tribal government through the Office of the Chiefs, the health system. I'm helping them in navigating their new waters. I'm also in support of all of our boards and our advisory boards, the casino, the foundation, and our minerals council. It's very important to mention them because they need a lot of support right now. And I just want to say thank you for having me here today, and I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
Mr. Kimball.
Thank you. I just want to add on to what Pam mentioned, that working with people, as I was told to go out and get into education, and whenever I did that, you submit yourself to be in the servitude of your own people. So with that, being kind and friendly to everybody, that's just ingrained from me, from my parents. At the end of the day, we're all related to one another. We're all going to see one another. Your children are going to play with my children. That's the way that I see it. That's the way I would approach it. But I want to say something to everybody and everybody watching, and also to my children 20 years from now. I want to urge every one of you and challenge every one of you to look at everyone that's sitting up here. Look through them through the lens. Who do you see yourself in? Who do you see yourself as you want to be? Who represents that up here? Who has represented and cried for Osage people? Who has been there for Osage people? Who still strives for Osage people? That's the person that you want. It's hard to measure a heart, but it's also worth it.
Thank you. Mr. King.
You know, I was sad after the reservation ruling, but I woke up and the sun was shining. We had our Osage Nation youth in Norman speaking their language, winning awards. We have our people at their Native American churches praying on their Springs meetings. We'll gather in June and we'll dance like our ancestors before us. That's going to sustain us. I feel like I bring a unique skill set. Like I said, there's a bunch of battles on the horizon. We got compacts, the reservation status, but I feel like I still have a lot to bring to the table. So I ask for your support, and I just wanted to outline that language and culture, because without that, we're just a people, and that's what makes us Osage too. So I want to emphasize that. I thank you for coming, and please join me on this journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all the candidates. Can everybody here give them a round of applause? Thank you so much, and this concludes our debate for today. Thank you.
And we have good news, the dinner should be being placed outside, so help yourself. Please allow our elders to